If you've ever had a dream about spring air and birds chirping on the golf course, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We continue on with our truncated week here. Today is going to be January 21st, Wednesday, January 21st. We have Trump's speech at Davos imminent. I'm sure we're going to have more news coming out of Davos. I've got some news that I want to cover here. We've got some tweets to look over. We've got some things that are moving here today, and we are, of course, going to assess the selling in the market here. So we got a full day lined up. We also have story trading here today, so we should have plenty of stock idea generation for you. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday edition for January 21st, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you had a wonderful Tuesday evening. We are back for yet another market day here. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Richard Judge is first here today. Judge pumping the positivity into the universe and being first. Not a bad Wednesday for Mr. Judge. Brent, nice to see you again. Looking like you're already on some of the movers here with SLGB and BNAI. I'm sure we'll cover both of those here when we take a look at the list. Good morning, and it's great to see you again. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning and welcome back. Trade diligently today. I think that is a great piece of advice. Now, especially around 8:30 to 9:15 Eastern, that is when Trump is due to give his speech. I know that it looks like there's some confusion about whether he was late or not. Looks like the Air Force One had some type of problem, which delayed, but they were able to make it there on time. I see a live shot here of Trump landing on the helipad there, so it looks like that speech should go off at the scheduled time, if not maybe a few minutes late. We'll see if that has any impact, but I believe that is what Zach is referring to here. And then, Besant, as far as setting the tone, it sounds like he was talking about the America First agenda. I guess we'll see how the market reacts to that. Nonetheless, Zach, good morning. Welcome back. Strap in, buddy. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Marty, good morning. It's good to see you again. Producers locked in, making sure that the show goes on. I don't know if I can verbalize how grateful I am for the help, but thank you. Astro K, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. H&H Tactical, good morning. Welcome back. Whis, good morning. Welcome back. GB Slice, good morning. It's great to see you again as well. Sly Dog, what's up? Man, I remember that was all the rage back when I was in high school. What's that? There was a commercial too, wasn't there? Nonetheless, thanks for joining us here today. Great to have you here. Let's see. Oh, boy, you guys. Carlos, good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, good morning. Appreciate your whole crew and all you do. I appreciate the crew, too. That includes all of the viewers. As I've said a number of times, y'all folks act as a makeshift scanner in here. So even though I'm looking at a scanner, looking at Twitter, looking at my charts, you folks often uncover things. And so pat on the back for the entire crew, which includes the viewers. Thank you, Rooster. I'll always take positivity in the morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Cam, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. Tyler, it's good to see you again. JJ, good morning. Night Slants, good morning. Yassine, good to see you as always. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Lion, good morning. Lion, of course, is pumping gold yet again. That was a really good call, though, all jokes aside. Welcome, Lion. Good to see you again. Victor, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Sean, good morning. Welcome back. Edward, good morning. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. Flag Drones, good morning. Bob, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Jamaican, good morning. Oh, I bet it's not nearly as cold in Jamaica as it is here. Big Bees, good morning. Indeed, it is hump day. I keep forgetting, whenever we have these Mondays off, Wednesday doesn't feel like a Wednesday. It doesn't really feel like a hump day, but you are correct. Let's roll. Ben, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Castle, good morning. And Durkis, good morning. I think I hit everybody. Hey, 3D, happy Wednesday indeed. Good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All All right. Futures under pressure yet again after the sell-off yesterday. Futures had actually rebounded in the overnight session and early this morning, but as of late have rolled over and retested the overnight lows. Currently, S&P futures down 0.10%, Dow futures down 0.21%, and the NASDAQ down 0.2%. See if they firm up ahead of the open here. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. While consumer staple stocks bucked the trend to close higher, information technology, consumer discretionary, and financial stocks recorded the biggest losses on Tuesday as most S&P 500 sectors finished on a negative note. On Tuesday, S&P 500 index recorded its worst session since October of 2025, which isn't that long ago, to be honest, dipping more than 2% during the session as risk-off sentiment intensified following President Trump's aggressive new trade stance towards Europe. Trump threatened several European countries with additional tariffs starting on February 1st if negotiations over Greenland control fail, well, with duties potentially rising to 25% from June. European officials warned of retaliation that could affect up to 25% of U.S. exports to Europe, potentially including services, and floated the possibility of reducing treasury holdings. On Wednesday, the spotlight shifts to the World Economic Forum in Davos, where Trump is scheduled to deliver a keynote address and hold discussions with foreign nations regarding Greenland. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.27%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.58%. Meanwhile, the CME's Fed Watch tool held steady at 95%. Sure looks like we're not getting a rate cut here in January, and that was somewhat expected. Now, we do have several stocks in focus here for you today. The first one is going to be Johnson & Johnson, which is ticker JNJ. It was 0.33% lower in the pre-market on Wednesday, as it is projected to post quarterly earnings of $2.46 per share on revenue of $24.16 billion before the opening bell. Now, since then, that report has come out. Johnson & Johnson reported Q4 adjusted EPS of $2.46, which beat the $2.44 estimate. They also reported sales of $24.564 billion, which beat the estimate of $24.159 billion. So there's a beat on the top and the bottom line. Full year 26 adjusted EPS of $11.43 to $11.63. That's versus the $11.45 estimate. So the estimate is at the low end of the range. They see sales at $99.5 to $100.5 billion, and that was versus the estimate of $98.89 billion. So Johnson & Johnson is actually trading lower here in the pre-market, but it does look like there was a beat on the top and the bottom line. And while the guidance was in range, it's actually at the higher end of the range. The next stop we have for you today is GameStop. Get ready, buckle up. GameStop often creates a whole lot of fun here. Ticker GME, it rose 2.7% after CEO Ryan Cohn disclosed a massive purchase of the stock. According to an SEC filing, Cohn purchased 500,000 additional shares of GameStop at a weighted average price of approximately $21.12 per share. I'm curious how many people still trade GameStop on a regular basis. The next stock on our list here is one we've been waiting for. It's Netflix. Netflix is no shortage of news. The ticker is NFLX, and it tumbled 5.48% despite reporting better than expected fourth quarter financial results. However, it sees first quarter revenue of $12.16 billion versus street consensus estimate of $12.19 billion. Also, it expects a first quarter earnings per share of 76 cents, which is below a consensus estimate of 81 cents. Netflix also trading lower here today. We'll take a look at the Netflix chart. I know we've been waiting for a spot on that chart in the low 80s. That's where we find ourselves this morning. So we'll be taking a look at that chart here pretty soon. The next stock on our list is going to be United Air Holdings. This is ticker UAL. That was 4.1% higher after the carrier followed a fourth quarter earnings beat with a bullish first quarter forecast of $1 to $1.50 per share, topping the analyst estimates. Intel wraps up our list here today. Ticker INTC rose 2.88% after upgrades from HSBC and Seaport Research, and that was according to Motley Fool. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY now. Oops, let me get rid of that. All right, so we talked yesterday about the real key oops, I am screwing stuff up here this morning. We talked yesterday about the real key level being the 50-day moving average, and indeed, it did kind of look like it was going to maybe trade above that, and maybe hold above that in the morning, but around midday, we really started to roll over and then set some new lows. The end result here is that we did break beneath that 50-day moving average, and we got our first close beneath that. Looking at the chart here, looking at the pre-market, just kind of figuring in the vibes, if you will, and the momentum that's going on here. And it sure seems to me that a move down to 673 here is probably in the cards. Wouldn't surprise me at all. That would actually retest a previous all-time high breakout level that took a couple of tries for us to get through. Then we actually used it as support. We'll see if we can use it as support again. And that would also test the 100-day moving average, which is the next moving average that we would want to test on a controlled move down here. I also wanted to share with you, I have a little bit of a bonus. I also wanted to share with you some thoughts that Anne-Marie gave. I thought they were very valuable, so I wanted to share them with you here today. She saw some monster orders in the futures last night into the close. SPY sellers near 682, 681. Lo and behold, that's a key level that we have talked about a number of times. And a zero DTE put wall at 675. So it seems like we have a bounce coming from this. How well the buyers perform in that bounce will really determine how good the bounce is. So we need to recapture some of the key levels, and it really looks like 682 would be that level in SPY. So what that is to say is that if we do bounce here, especially early in the day, the key level then becomes 682. If we can get back above that, perhaps we can make some more constructive moves on that. However, if we do bounce, will we see that bounce fade? And that, I think that's really the $64,000 question. So if we do start to bounce here, mark 682 on the SPY, see if we end up fading from that level. That might give you a game plan on how to actually trade the SPY here today. And we thank Anne-Marie for all of her insights. More information, more better. And when it comes from someone as seasoned as Anne-Marie, I put a lot of value in that, and I'd be happy to share it with you folks here. All right, we'll take a look at some other insights from analysts here. Professor Jeremy Siegel believes the stock market is undergoing a significant transition, looking past headline inflation noise to drive rotation from large cap growth into small cap and value stocks. And I'm just going to stop right there. I don't know if Jeremy Siegel is right here, but hot damn, I sure hope he is on this. We've talked a lot on this program and on Happy Hour, and I heard other traders not in our ecosystem really discussing the same things. They talk about this on CNBC all the time. A diversification out of some of the really popular and highly concentrated tech stocks is actually one of the best things for retail investors and for those trying to build wealth. Obviously, you have to select the right stocks, but if we rotate into value, Tim Melvin talks about value all the time. He's a value guy. We're going to have him on today. If you rotate into value, you should have a pretty good opportunity of making some money here. And if you catch the right small cap stock, like we've kind of seen with Ondas and others, that can really help the wealth generation move. So on the surface, I absolutely love this. And I hope that this pans out for 2026. Now, it's not to say that we're not going to have volatility. We absolutely are. And I think a lot of our traders have talked about volatility and anticipating pullbacks this year. And a lot of the talking heads have done the same thing. So I suspect we're going to see a lot of that here this year. But I think that overall, when it's all said and done, when the dust settles, as they say, I'm hoping for a pretty good high opportunity year here today. Now, according to Siegel, sorry about the rant. According to Siegel, unlike previous brief reversals, the shift appears more durable. He points to a roughly 10 to 12% pullback in large cap growth stocks relative to value as investors reassess concentration risk after years of AI dominance. Now, the other point that's inherent there is that he's not saying AI dominance is going to end. Rather, we're actually going to see some spreading out from some of these stocks that were once really concentrated. And another thing that you should keep in mind is that we're also waiting for quite a bit of AI IPOs this year. if we're seeing this effect now, it's reasonable to assume we continue to see that diversification and spreading out as we get more new AI names that come public. Meanwhile, the economic backdrop remains supportive. Siegel argues that growth data is, quote, impressively resilient, end quote, and labor markets show, quote, no stress, which creates a safety net for equities. I will say, I do get nervous when people start talking about safety nets. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Crucially, Siegel sees the Federal Reserve's policy trajectory as a tailwind. With the direction of policy clear for the year, he asserts that small cap stocks do not require heroic earnings growth to perform well, given their current valuations. This, to me, would be, just given how I like to have long-term investments in a lot of these smaller stocks, this, to me, would be one of the best things that could happen this year, frankly. And it has nothing to do with day trading and everything to do with swings and investment. He concludes that the current landscape, defined by stabilizing earnings and a gradual Fed pivot, is, quote, the kind of environment where diversification finally pays off, end quote. Man, I hope that is the case for sure. Now, as far as data today, the delayed report for October's construction spending, along with December's pending home sales data, will be released by 10. Also, I know that we have the speech here going on. I think the producer has set up the ability to play that. I don't know if we want to turn the stream into a rebroadcast of that. You folks would have to let me know what you think, or what you want to do. I think one of the things that we can do by having this ready, if something really starts to happen, we might be able to kind of shift over that and then react together on that. I think that might be the best way to play it, but you folks will have to give me some feedback on that. I think we're set up to do both. So we'll do what the group wants here for sure. Let me keep rolling through some of the news here. This next one here, Trump says he's taking on Wall Street homebuyers, but an economist says it's more of an obstacle course than a ban. And I'll be honest with you, this kind of makes sense. We actually talked about this in Happy Hour a number of times. We're really wanted to see how this is all going to shake out. President Trump signed an executive order on Tuesday aimed at curbing the influence of large institutional investors in the single-family housing market. However, an economist argues that the order doesn't actually ban Wall Street buyers. It just creates an obstacle course for them. While the administration frames the move as a decisive victory to preserve the supply of single-family homes for American families, rental housing economist Jay Parsons notes that the order stopped short of an outright ban, opting instead to remove federal support for corporate landlords. Still think that's a good idea. The executive order, titled Stopping Wall Street from Competing with Main Street, which sounds great on the surface, directs federal agencies to prioritize individual home buyers over corporate entities. And I think for the U.S. economy, for just the health of the American people, especially young folks, especially folks that are trying to be first-time home buyers, all of this stuff hopefully ends up benefiting them. I think that's one way to really kind of spur savings and growth here, especially at the low end, or the younger end, I should say. Specifically, it blocks government-sponsored enterprises like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac from facilitating loans to large institutional investors. Additionally, the president has ordered the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission to scrutinize substantial acquisitions for anti-competitive practices. The order restricts how investors buy homes rather than forbidding the purchase entirely. Quote, the order doesn't actually ban institutional buyers, but does look to limit it through various means, end quote. And that was explained by Parsons in the X thread. If anyone wants any of these accompanying threads, I'll go ahead and drop the link to the story here, which has a link to all of them for you. According to Parsons, the administration likely avoided a direct ban due to legal limitations. And I'm going to pause right there, because when we first heard about this, and we talked about this in Happy Hour, this was one of the things that our real estate experts said in not so many words. The question was, well, how are they going to do this, right? The devil is always in the details. On the surface, this sounds great, but how is it actually going to be executed? One of the concerns was, is it even legal to begin with? So it looks like we're kind of going in a path here that is guided, I guess you would say, by the legal limitations. In any case, I think we can expect more on this. And I also think we can expect some of this stuff to change over time. Anyway, getting back to this, according to Parsons, the administration likely avoided a direct ban due to legal limitations, choosing instead to cut off easy access to federal financing and ramp up antitrust enforcement. The White House indicated it will draft further legislation for Congress to codify a permanent ban. I think I said banned, sorry. The executive order has drawn vocal support beyond the administration's usual base. Dom Kwok, co-founder of the Web3 education platform EasyA, celebrated the move on X with the slogan, "Make Housing Affordable Again," or MHAA. Not quite as punchy, but still very important, signaling approval from parts of the tech sector. Politically, the moves create a rare convergence between the Trump administration and its opposition. The crackdown aligns with long-standing Democratic criticism of corporate home buying, a practice opponents claim has artificially inflated housing costs since the 2008 financial crisis. And indeed, I have heard this since that financial crisis. And again, devil's in the details. We'll see if this does actually help. And the link I threw in the chat has the link to the actual White House post here that's being referenced. The order also contains significant exceptions. Parsons noted that the booming build-to-rent, or BTR, sector is carved out, provided the protections are planned, permitted, and financed and constructed rental communities. This protects developers building new rental subdivisions while targeting investors who buy existing scattered homes that would otherwise go to families. Furthermore, the order effectively kicks the can down the road on enforcement specifics. It does not yet define what constitutes a large institutional investor, instead giving the Treasury Department 30 days to establish said criteria. So again, we'll see what else comes out about this. I am, given all of the stuff that's floating around in the zeitgeist right now, I'm extremely encouraged to see that there's at least one here that seems to be supported by both sides. We'll see how this actually pans out here. And perhaps most importantly, we'll see if this provides an opportunity to trade any of these stocks related to housing, whether they're builders like Toll Brothers or KB Homes or Pulte, or whether they're mortgage origination stocks like Rocket, UWMC, or even stocks like Zillow or Redfin and things of that nature. So we'll see how this all shakes out. But again, on the surface there, sounds pretty good. All right. How much time do I have? All right, we are going to have Tim Melvin here, but I got a couple of minutes before we go get started. I do want to roll through some more of this news, and this one here comes from Davos. Anthropic CEO predicts AI models will replace software engineers in 6 to 12 months. Quote, "I don't write code anymore." End quote. Dario Amodei, CEO of the California-based AI company Anthropic, made a bold prediction about the future of software engineering, suggesting that AI models could soon take over most, if not all, tasks currently performed by software engineers. He estimated that this shift could happen within the next 6 to 12 months. Now, first of all, my first reaction to this is I feel over the course of my life that I have had great ideas about some app or program that would help the masses, and I just need to learn to code because I'm not a coder. And I end up never doing those projects, and out of fear of giving away a multi-million-dollar idea, I don't tell the people that are capable of doing those projects. One of the things that I'm encouraged with here, I don't know if this is going to happen, but if AI really helps humans code in a more natural language, part of me wonders if we're going to see kind of like a boom of some of these self-made applications, maybe not necessarily for a phone, but just applications in general, as more non-coding folk are able to get their ideas into the real world. This is pie in the sky. I don't know if this is going to happen. This is definitely something I would like to try on my own. Just to see how well it works. But when I read this headline here, I was like, ooh, that could be good. And that would certainly have effects for some of the stocks that we trade in the market. We'll see. JD says, do I have to patent my prompt? An interesting question I hadn't given much thought of. Once again, the chat coming up with a lot of really good stuff to think about. Zach here says, I've got a game app idea that is starting to feel closer with AI. So Zach, it sounds like you've had at least some similar feelings to me. Like I have these ideas, but I don't know how to execute it. I wonder if this can really kind of close that gap for me and others that are not coding professionals. Nonetheless, again, I'm in a ranty mood today. I don't know what to say. Amodi's comments were made during a discussion with Zanny Milton Beddos, editor-in-chief of The Economist, at the World Economic Forum on Tuesday. For anyone that wants any of the videos or the stuff that came out of this conversation, that's also in the chat there for you. When asked about the timeline for this shift, Amodi noted that engineers at Anthropic have already stopped writing code manually. Day trader here saying Claude Cowork is already eating engineering. Abdul says base 44 is great. See, these are things that I don't know. I'm glad that we're having this discussion. I would put a call to action here. If anyone does use some of these AI tools to create something, I'm interested in that, even if it's a small idea. We might not be able to fit it into the show here, but I'm just interested in your experience in general. More of a personal thing than anything else. Amodi says, quote, we are now in terms of the models that write code. I have engineers with Anthropic who say, I don't write code anymore. I just let the model write the code. I edit it. I do the things around it. I think we might be 6 to 12 months away from when the model is doing most, maybe all of what we need to do end to end. Amodi, who's considered the principal leader and guiding force behind the development of the Claude family of AI models, day trader, wink, explained that the mechanism involves AI models proficient at coding and AI research creating next generation models, establishing an acceleration loop. Quote, it's a question of how fast does that loop close, end quote. He goes on to say, acknowledging constraints, including chip manufacturing and training time, limit a lot of these automation speeds. Amodi's prediction about the automation of software engineering tasks align with the rapid advancements in AI and automation technologies. Companies like Microsoft have already begun implementing AI tools that automate various tasks in the retail sector. Similarly, in November of 2025, Zenny, an AI bookkeeping software, launched an AI accounting agent to automate complex accounting workflows. The trend also raised concerns for many, with AI researcher Jeffrey Hinton, aka the godfather of AI. There you go, Lion. We got another godfather line getting thrown around here. The godfather of AI warning that AI could replace millions of jobs by 2026. Well, here we are. We are at 2026. We'll see if those jobs get replaced. Okay, another one here real quick. Amazon joins Microsoft in a pledge to self-fund the power grids. CEO Andy Jassy questions OpenAI's ambitious spending as well. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy has committed the tech giant to funding its own massive needs for artificial intelligence, aligning with a similar pledge from Microsoft amidst growing political pressure to protect consumers from rising electricity bills. This, again, on the surface here sounds great and great for the average person. Speaking at Davos to CNBC, Jassy addressed concerns that the insatiable energy demands of AI data centers would burden ordinary ratepayers. Quote, we don't expect other people to pay for us. We expect to fund the power that we need, end quote. This declaration followed Microsoft's recent pledge to adopt a community-first approach to infrastructure expansion after pressure from the Trump administration to ensure that tech giants bear their own data center power costs. The unified front from big tech is supported by U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who recently argued that hyperscalers are eager to finance necessary grid upgrades themselves rather than socializing the costs. Jassy acknowledged the reality of a global power crunch facing the AI boom, noting that while the simulation has improved, that was not a Freudian slip, noting that the situation has improved over the last 18 months, energy is still not as plentiful as we all need. To meet this unprecedented demand without stressing energy grids, Jassy highlighted Amazon's strategy of pursuing unique solutions, including investments in nuclear capabilities and maintaining its status as the largest corporate purchaser of renewable energy over the last 5 years. While committing to his own massive infrastructure spend, Jassy at the same time casts subtle doubt on reports that rival OpenAI has signed deals for $1.4 trillion in infrastructure. While calling the plans ambitious and forward-thinking, he admitted skepticism regarding the concrete nature of those figures. And I don't think that's a problem at all. Skepticism over number figures, I think that's probably a healthy thing. Well, quote, I have a harder time making sense of them all, end quote, Jassy said, questioning how much was guaranteed spending versus mere options. Grounding the AI frenzy in financial reality, he warned that in history of substantial investments, quote, not all of them are successful, end quote, and the hit rate is pretty variable. So we'll see if we'll see how Andy's predictions work out here, both for the data center expansion and the companies bearing the cost, as well as is OpenAI spending too much money? That seems to be a common theme around here, to be quite honest. All right, folks. I know you guys can't get enough. We're done listening to me. It is time to listen to one of our favorite guests here. Let's go ahead and bring on Tim Melvin. Tim, good morning. Happy Wednesday, boss. How are you doing today?
Happy. Oh, we're doing great. We're getting ready for the big, southern winter storm that rolls along. Of course, I moved to the Mid-South out of Florida the year that we're going to get the biggest snowstorm that they've had in 20 years.
So you're saying you're bringing the snow?
I might be, although I never brought it to Florida. So I think it's the snow.
Okay.
I think it's, look, if we're going
to your weather manipulation ability.
Well, you know what? Listen, I'm of the opinion now that if we're going to invade a country, let's invade Canada and build a great big wall so they keep their damn air. Right? It's that, I don't care about the bad Chinese air. I care about the bad Canadian air. Y'all keep it.
Wow. Did not have that on my bingo card. Folks, he's just kidding. Please don't write me asking to put me on a pitchfork. He's kidding.
Yes, no, I am absolutely just kidding. Although, if any of you guys understand anything and have a way to build a wall that keeps Canadian air in the wintertime, well, then I might reframe my opinion. But obviously not possible. So anyway, lots of noise, lots of news around this morning, just as we would expect there to be. This is the most attention Davos has gotten in forever, and every hotel owner in Davos is very happy with Mr. Trump this morning because they're getting a lot more money than they might have gotten otherwise. By the way, the most ironic and funniest thing out of Davos this morning, I don't know if you guys saw this. But the Trump administration made this decision relatively late in the game as far as preparations and having a building. So they found a building in Davos where the whole team could work, Ryan. And I love this story so much. So they found this building and it's an old church. All right. It's an old church sitting on a hill. You can see it from all over Davos. Big sign. Now, remember, this is the Trump administration's headquarters. There's an enormous sign visible from large parts of downtown Davos, House of God. You can't write these jokes, Brian.
I'm sure folks are thrilled with that.
So I just thought that was great. Anyway, listen, we've been a lot of research coming in as we came into the year end. A lot of folks hitting their publisher parish deadlines, and there is some very interesting stuff in there. So I want to talk a little bit about it this morning, and then if we leave enough time, I'm going to share some screening ideas based out of my own research that we can do on Pro. Now, first up, we have a study that was done on the CAPE ratio, and people argue about the CAPE ratio and it doesn't work and you're out of the market too long. And we've kind of pretty much debunked most of these. If you're using the CAPE ratio or any other PE ratio as a precise timing indicator, you're going to lose an enormous amount of money. If you use it as a barometer, it's going to be one of the most important tools in your toolbox. And there is a new paper out that suggests, and this is out of some folks in Australia, and I think one out somewhere in Europe, university. What they did is they said, look, we've got to calculate the CAPE ratio correctly. Because when we look at the CAPE ratio chart, right, and you see the CAPE ratio from 10 years ago, that's based on the CAPE ratio back then from the company's 10-year histories prior to that. A lot of those companies might not even be in the index. So they go back and they use the current constituents to go back and test the CAPE ratio over longer periods of time. And what they found is that this CAPE ratio is actually more reliable, right? A low CAPE ratio suggests very high stock market returns ahead, and a high CAPE ratio suggests very low stock market returns ahead. And as I said, it's not a timing mechanism at all, but it is kind of a yellow light, right? A flashing yellow for those of you that are NASCAR fans. If in fact the CAPE ratio is at a high level, you need to frame your thinking differently, because this is a period where momentum's going to work really well, but it might not be the best time in history to put all of your money into an index fund. So I just thought that was very interesting and confirming the fact. Look, it is very useful. If you're interested, email Ryan and I will send you a link to the paper, because it is a pain in the butt to go back and recalculate this thing. But if you got access to a halfway decent amount of data, you can do it. I'm pretty sure you could do it with the stuff just right on Benzinga. And the other one's near and dear to my heart, and it goes to momentum. And these guys went back and they studied momentum across enormous time frames. They broke it down into long time ago and current. And what they found is, no matter how much they write about it, no matter how many people talk about it, no matter how many people try it, momentum still works. Now, that's not true of a lot of things. All right, there's been some things that had brief shining moments in the sun in the past. I always use risk arb as the best example. I once had a conversation with Guy Weiser Pratt he was at PreMarket, and his risk arb operation saved PreMarket through the 70s, because they had all the mess with the partnerships and everything. They were making hundreds of millions of dollars at a time when that was unheard of. And he told me that back then they would not look at a risk arb deal without a 30% raw spread between the value of the takeover and the current price. A paper with a spread, a situation with a spread much over 5% today, 10% max, is probably not going to go through. So much money came into risk arb, it destroyed risk arb as a high performing asset class. Now it performs like treasuries plus 2%. So money coming into an area can often and usually does destroy it. The exception to this is momentum and value, which we've discussed in the past. But
real quick, Tim, JD saying maybe a link below if possible. I would say that if you can send me that stuff, I can throw it right in the chat. I think going forward, if you have stuff like this that's easily linkable, definitely email it to me in the morning. That way, when we jump on here, I can just give it right to the group instead of asking them to reach out to me in the whole 9 yards. Now, in some cases, we might have something where you actually do have to, we can't necessarily share it just via a link here in the chat. And if that's the case, I'm happy to facilitate that, of course. But yeah, Tim, if you have any links, just shoot them over via email, and I'll go ahead and post them in the chat here for the group.
I'll send the momentum link right now, right? Because that's the more. I think that's the paper that's going to be more interesting to everybody, because it has. Oh, all right. I'll send them after the show, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. And guys, just stay tuned in the chat. I'll drop them in here. And going forward, Tim, if I can get them early, I'll have them ready for the group.
I've been trying to be good about that, but time got away this morning.
Yeah, anyway, it always does.
The important conclusion in this paper, when you're looking at momentum on regular stocks, right? And they use the classic method of calculating momentum, right? They used the last year and they took out the final month. So you do 12-month momentum, but it's really the previous 11 months. So you leave the last month out. That's an academic reason for that. I think you don't have to do that. But the important conclusion of the paper was this. If you're looking at a stock that's got high momentum, go back a year ago, right? If that stock was trading closer to new highs than new lows, that trend is probably close to over, and it's not going to deliver massive returns. Most of the returns from momentum came from stocks. You go back, this stock has been a top performing stock over the last year. Go back to the last year and look at the starting point. If that's close to new lows, that's the stock you want to own in a momentum strategy. And the percentages and the statistics on this particular factor were enormous. I mean, like it wasn't even close. Most of the return came from in momentum strategies going back over a very long period of time, came from stocks that when you're looking at 12-month momentum, you go back to the starting point and the stock's trading closer to lows at the starting point are the big winners going forward into the second 12 months of the momentum strategy. So I haven't had time to play with that a lot, but that's a fascinating statistic. And if it holds true in my own work, I'll come back and share it with you because there's some pretty cool stuff there that obviously we're going to want to talk about.
Okay.
All right. Now here's one. Let's see. I'm going for my strategy. If I don't make half of the chat mad at me, I have not properly done my job. So here is a very cool paper out of Cliss Asness over at AQR. If you have a quantitative bet at all, you need to be reading the stuff that gets up there on AQR. AQR thinks a lot like I do. They test everything. Somebody says, well, does this work? I don't know. Let's test it. And they're good at it. So they ask a simple question. Does buy the dip work? Does it work better than just staying in equities? Does it work better than you doing trend following and waiting for the market to prove itself? So they tested 196 systemic buy the dip strategies. 5% dips, 10%, 15, 20, and they used look back periods of 1 week through 1 year, holding periods of 1 month through 5 years. And guess what they found, Ryan?
That it works.
It don't work.
Oh, that's what I've been doing wrong, Tim.
It's through, and there are periods. They're blunt about this. There are periods where it does work, but when you apply it particularly to the market as a whole, it doesn't work.
So that was going to be my follow-up question, Tim. Is this something that is stock specific or is this broader market specific? Because I look at a chart like SPY and I think to myself, buy the dip absolutely works. This guy's selling a bunch of hogwash.
Well, except that you're looking at a longer term buy the dip. This is the trader's point of view of buy the dip. And when you go back and look at 2008, buy the dip got you obliterated. Go back.
That's a technical term, by the way.
Technical term. Back in 2000, right? You got wiped out worse than I did in my first divorce. I mean, just an absolute disaster.
Shouldn't even be laughing. I shouldn't be laughing at you.
You should be actually buying the dip. Okay, it's just flat out. There's periods of time where it works okay. As a long-term strategy, it doesn't work because the drawdown usually continues. What they found was staying the course, which is painful, unless you marry the first paper with the second paper, right? If you only really jump in when the CAPE ratio is at very low levels, that happens after a sustained decline, not a dip, right? Then it's a little easier to stay invested over long periods of time. However, if you're just trying to buy the dip as a regular strategy, you're better off with trend following, where you get the dip and you wait for prices to confirm by breaking over whatever line you chose to draw on the chart. Now, this research is not completely fleshed out, and hold on, I got to get to the right segment of my little thing here. We ran some tests on combining value, momentum, and credit. Okay. And they're like ridiculously successful. All right. They just crushed the market over the last 25 years, and not by a little bit, by a factor of 4x on compounded total return. Last year, they did about twice the market's rate of return, about 1.6 times actually, when I look at it. And it's a real simple strategy, and we can do this in Pro if you want to boot it up there real quick.
Let's do it.
Okay. Last year was 29% versus the 12%. So yeah, a little bit better than 2 times the market rate of return. And all we're going to do here, Ryan, is we're going to go to value over 80%.
Okay, let me add the rankings here. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind.
That's okay.
Boop. All right, so we're going to do value minimum of 80. Perfect.
Yep. So we're going to do value minimum of 80. Now we're going to do momentum, 80, F score, 7.
7 to 9.
Yeah, there's nothing higher than 9, so we got to
Right.
stop there. Now, how many stocks do we have there on that list?
Well, let me take off the sub tab there. I have 17 stocks. So these 3 filters just filtered this down to 17, and I recognize several of these.
Okay, so 80. Let me just get this on my screen. So, yes. So let's talk about the ones that are there. I can't obviously see the screen all that well, but there's Korea Electric Power. Take a look at
Alibaba.
take a look at the chart on Korean Electric Power.
You got it. Here's your daily chart. Look at this thing.
Forget what these guys do, right? And that's a pure momentum stock. This thing trades below book value. Okay. Alibaba. Again, notice no U.S. stocks. So Alibaba is on there. And again,
yeah. Sorry.
Forget what any of these stocks do or what countries they're from or any of the or anything else really to do with the countries. If you just take that from a chartist momentum point of view, they're like dream situations.
I did find one American stock on here. I found Macy's on here. Not the one I would have guessed, though.
Yeah, I mean, Macy's has really gotten a bid, and I think it's the old classic. Is it going to get sold? What are they ever going to do with the real estate? I mean, there's always that kind of thing surrounding Macy's as you get into a bad market. I actually think their operating results have not been awful. I'm looking to see what I did here. Why my screener's not working this morning.
Value, momentum, and F score.
Oh, that's why. I see why now. There we go. All right. Well, I don't know what the hell's wrong with mine. We'll use yours.
Okay.
Trust me, it's user error. But again, is that NBR in there, Ryan?
Sure is.
Okay, NBR neighbors. That's drilling platforms, offshore drilling and onshore. One of the largest oil and gas drillers, and that ties into your earlier story, by the way, on AI.
Which one? Sorry, Tim. I'm having a tough time following you today, man.
I know. AI companies and energy. Yes, I've got too many screens open at the moment because these guys are a huge oil and gas driller. However, this also plays big into the Venezuela story because an enormous portion of Venezuela's oil reserves are offshore. Neighbors is one of the biggest offshore drilling suppliers in the world. Now, the stock's got momentum. They've got outstanding credit profile. The fundamentals of the business are fantastic. I mean, earnings are going to be up 171% this year. Going to grow over the next 5 years at better than 40%. Been growing at over 30. Guys, this thing's trading at 6 times earnings. Okay. Maybe 4 times the cash generated by the business. So in spite of the performance, the stock is still remarkably cheap. So now I'm just going back here. So I'm looking down here. Is that MPAA? Yes.
MPAA, indeed. Motor Car Parts of America.
I love this stock. Okay. And they're brake pads, guys. Brake pads and auto parts. I don't know why they haven't been sold yet. They've got hard parts, test solutions, diagnostic equipment, electric products, alternator starters, wheel hubs, brake-related products, brake pads, then testers for alternators and starters. They're in Torrance, California, been around since 1968. They restructured this company a couple of years ago, used a little bit of debt to do it. They've been actively paying down the debt. The stock is trading at about 7 times what analysts expect them to make. They wrote off some stuff earlier this year and less than book value and 30 cents on the dollar sales. So it is super cheap and the credit picture is good. And the stock actually has 12-month momentum.
Okay.
So just by putting all of these together, I mean, you're able to. Tommy Boy just sold 1 million brake pads. Okay, that's hysterical because that movie was actually on TV the other day, which was pretty funny. I haven't seen
That's
that.
A classic.
It is absolutely classic. Um, so just this combination over the last 25 years, and I think if I had my database went back further, we could go back further. This combination crushes the overall market. And I want you to notice that it makes that shift away from the United States at a time when the United States markets are having massive problems. So, yeah, I wish I could get my screener to work here. That'd be so much better. I don't know why I always have problems just as I come on here. So, um, going back to yours, Ryan, if with a lot of foreign stocks on there, you can see. Um,
So basically, Tim,
I really can't. I can't see the
look, it's
screen.
okay. It's okay. We can get back to this when we have the stuff working. But basically, what you're saying here is you're trying to wait until some of this momentum is confirmed, right? You're looking for value stocks that are showing momentum.
Right. It's the marriage of value and credit is outperforms almost anything that you can think of. Okay, when you take deep value and you put it together with a strong credit profile, but we can add some kick to this by waiting for confirmation of momentum. Okay. So we've the traditional approach. You're going to have some stocks that take a while to catch up. We live in a very impatient world, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah, we do. There's no question.
This strategy, by the way, of combining value and momentum, I would be applying this to the housing situation right now in a big way. Housing is the most difficult area of the U.S. economy. We know that. The affordability issue is real. We're seeing all sorts of legislative attempts to fix this. Okay. Now, where we're all going to run into problems is the housing is local. We all know that. The regulations to build a house in Miami look nothing like the regulations to build a house in Chicago. And you can build a house in the center of Moscow easier than you can build one in Silicon Valley. So, I mean, there's just the rules and restrictions are local. So we can do a whole bunch of stuff at the federal level. And I think the Trump administration and Congress even are trying to find that solution because they have to before the midterms come up with something they can sell. But all of these are going to be difficult solutions because there's really only one answer to the housing crisis. Right, we have to build more homes.
Yeah,
we can canoodle with mortgage interest rates. We can tell the people that only own 2% of the rental market in the world, large institutions in the United States. And see, that's something in this debate you need to keep in mind, right? They don't own that much. When you look at large institutions, they own less than 2% of the single family home supply. Now, where the numbers get kinked, they're like, well, 25% of all homes were bought by investors. Yup. Your doctor bought a couple. Your dentist, he got in a partnership with his buddies. Those are local landlords. That's a whole different thing. Those have been with us kind of since the beginning of time. But the large institutions, the BlackRocks and the Blackstones, 2%. They're not a factor in the market, except in certain areas like Jacksonville and where there's high rental markets anyway. So there's a lot of solutions that you're going to hear kicked around. The only one that's going to work is building more homes, and that's going to create. There's going to be some opportunities here, and I'm talking life-changing wealth opportunities in the builders that build single-family homes, in select real estate brokers, and some mortgage companies, right? Which ones? I don't know. I can tell you which ones are cheap with good credit. When are they going to start moving? I don't know. But when they do, the move is going to be on a par with artificial intelligence and some of the other things. We are on the low end 4 million, on the high end 6 million homes short of having the level of supply that's going to meaningfully impact housing prices. So I think when you look at what's the next big thing, it may not, AI may not be it. George Noble, the old Fidelity fund manager, said today that AI is starting to look like a classic failing growth stock because the amount of capex being spent is going to be almost impossible, particularly for OpenAI, according to Noble, to get a rate of return on the capital that justifies what they're expending. So you got to start to look at other sectors. And I think housing, could really be the big thing of 2026 if anybody gets this right.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. We talk about housing, we monitor housing. We obviously had D.R. Horton's report yesterday. It really just confirmed some of the things that we knew. I think you're hitting it on the head here, though. Supply is really what's going to turn this around. And I think there's going to be a lot of things that we can trade
Yeah.
in that period. Yeah.
And Ed Edwards, I think the name is there. My dad had a good friend named Ed Edwards, but he hits on something. Now, the cost of materials, when you look at
Yeah.
copper and some other things, they're high. I've said this I'm not a big government fan, but there's going to have to be tax credits, breaks, and everything else to get builders to build the low end supply. You're not
Mhm.
going to do it, right? Because I can jump through the same garbage with the zoning boards and the local governments and the lawyers and the accountants and all the regulatory and environmental stuff on the same size lot. And I can build a McMansion. And because of the cost of materials, I'm going to have a nice fat profit margin on the McMansion, right? I'm not going to on the smaller house. Everything forever and always comes back to incentives. And if we don't provide an incentive for those builders to get out there and build the lower end homes and incentives for state and local governments to allow this to happen, we're not going to solve the housing crisis, which means you should just be long apartment REITs forever.
So Tim, I think one of the things that we should think about over the next couple of months here are what are some of the plays that meet your criteria that would really be affected by some of the changes here in housing? Because I think that this is going to be a theme that we can trade, and I don't think this is just a day trading thing. I think that this is a longer term investment and swing opportunity that I think we should take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, AMRZ is a recent spinoff, and we actually have this stock in trade alerts.
Okay.
When you look at the actual value of the company, the cash produced, and don't look at the most recent numbers because those are the spinoff numbers and they're not correct. When we look at it over the full business cycle, this stock is trading extremely cheaply, less than 10 times cash flows. It's totally being ignored because it is a spinoff. All of the insiders have been buying like madmen. And I'm talking hundreds of thousands up to tens of millions. I mean, the CEO of this company is just buying, 4 million, 18 million, 2 million, $26 million at a shot. And they're buying like nuts. Now it is based in Switzerland. They have large U.S. operations. They have a huge cement plant here in the United States. They're in roofing. They're in cement. They're in shingles, waterproofing, protective coatings, tapes, sealants, cement, aggregates. I mean, they're just one of the best building supply companies out there. So that's going to be one that I think is going to make an enormous amount of money.
Okay.
I'm just kind of going through here, looking at the complete list. Oops, wrong tab. Sorry, guys. My morning has fallen apart due to computer problems and not being as prepared as normal, but we'll muddle through here. So
go ahead.
I think when you look at SMID, and this one does not trade a lot. This is Smith Midland.
Ticker?
SMID, one of the largest cement companies and concrete in the United States, used in construction, utilities, farming, home building, all of that. They're going to be a big player in this as well. I think that not sure how to Builders First Sources long been one of my favorites, and that stock is now falling back towards a level where you might think it's cheap. But again, you're going to want to combine value and momentum along with the credit analysis on the builders, on the realtors, on everybody that's going to be involved in this process, the materials companies. There's some opportunities in here now. I think we're going to get more as time goes on. This may be the biggest domestic problem that we have, because if we come up with the right combination of factors to solve this crisis that creates a lot of jobs, right? It provides a lot of housing. You've got a lot of retail activity around the new communities. And yes, AMRC chart is boring. I live on boring. My kids went to college on boring charts. A couple bartenders' kids went to college on boring charts. So I love boring charts. So, So yeah, I mean, I think the housing market and all the related plays, and we can do some more on this next week. I can get a little better prepared around housing specifically if we'd like, because there is some cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I might do is I might just keep running some of those scans here in Pro on a regular basis. And as I start to see housing and material stocks join that list, I think maybe that'll be time, right? We want to make sure that it has value and make sure that it has momentum. Okay, Tim, really good.
I have to correct one thing. Hamid, if you're young and can wait 5 to 10 years for Tim's recommendations, this will work well for you. There's a little bit of truth in that, but remember something, okay? We do value and momentum.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you, over the last couple of years, I've got more 10 baggers than most. All
Yeah.
right. Our criteria are not just good for guys that have gray hairs and are going to wait forever. You can use our stuff in this short time, particularly if you put them together with some of the technical tools in Pro.
Okay, Tim, we deal with technology issues here on a fairly regular basis, so we're accustomed to that. We'll get you next time. Always a chance to be 2% better. Really appreciate your time here today and the idea generation, and I look forward to more of this going forward.
All right, guys, listen, thank you. I will see y'all next week. I will smack my computer around so it'll be better behaved, and I'll have some more fun stuff for us to talk about.
All right.
See you next
Sounds
week.
good. That is Tim Melvin. All right. Real quick here, before we get 13 on, I do want to do our street tweets segment. I see that despite some of the predictions here, the market is not falling apart. What a surprise. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these street tweets here, and then we'll go ahead and dive into our pre-market pulse. All right, first one here. Y'all did. You were going to get away without Michael Burry, did ya? Michael Burry, this is not surprising and will not end with OpenAI. All the capital being spent and lent by the richest companies on earth will not buy enough time. By the very definition of mania, the government will pull out all the stops to save the AI bubble, to save the AI bubble, to save the market, and to save the economy. The problem is too big to save, again, by that very same definition. So a little bit of a cryptic tweet here by Michael Burry, again, kind of relating back to the AI bubble and all of the knock-on effects that bubble may have. We have people on a bunch of different sides, or on both sides. Oh my God. We have a bunch of people on both sides of this. We go back and forth on the whole thing. The bubble fear's not going away. I guess I'd like to know from you folks if you think that this is actually a bubble. To me, it just seems like we're still in the feeling out process here for some of these. We'll see how this ends up shaking out. I'm really curious to see, especially about the OpenAI IPO. All right, producer, let's do the next tweet here real quick. Next tweet is from our friend Ross Gerber. Solid numbers out of Netflix. Impressive. It's just this marriage mucking things up for right now. And then he #tags Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery. This right here is exactly why when we were first talking about Netflix before the earnings and as Netflix was selling off, coming into the 200-day moving average and all of the other things that we had seen on the chart, this is why I kept saying that, really, the long side swing on this one, probably not. The correct entry is probably not until this issue gets resolved. Now, I know that there was some discussion here on dollar cost averaging Netflix and the whole 9 yards, and that's fine. But man, oh man, let me, producer, let me go back to my screen share here because I want to move to the Netflix chart, so we can take a look at that. So thank you very much. Here we go. Here's our Netflix chart. Now, we came into the 200. We broke it. We tried to recapture it. No bueno. Then we rolled over. And guess what? We came in to the 500-day, just like we said we were going to. Now, here we are in the low 80s. So if we look back here, you can see that this low 80 area, actually more like 81, 82, was some support. Looking at this chart here, I could make the case for maybe 75, 76 as the possible next support here for Netflix. Also worth noting, RSI here, 1664. So this thing is definitely due for a bounce. I understand why there are a lot of folks trying to trade this. We can ask 13 when we bring him on here if he sees anything here in the chart. But Netflix here, continuing to move lower. We had earnings yesterday. The other thing that's affecting this, as you can see by the pro newsfeed here, we have a slew of lowered price targets. Now, these are not upgrades or downgrades. These are simply adjustments to the price target. So there's definitely a part of me that's saying, hey, once we see all of these price target re-ratings, are we near the bottom? Stay tuned. We'll see here on Netflix. I'm very curious to see if any of you are trading Netflix and what those spots are that you see there. All right, folks. Good stuff there. Let's go ahead and get rolling here. I know we're a few minutes late, but let's knock out our pre-market pulse. 13, good morning. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a little dark outside. Still have my window open, and it's not letting enough light in. But it'll improve as the show goes on here. But I'm having a good morning. How are you? How's everybody?
I'm doing really good. I will say the darkness is okay. The only thing is it looks like you're growing a killer Burt Reynolds mustache there. So that's basically all the dark is really doing right now. But that's okay. We'll play it by ear here. Look, not to put you right on the spot, but do you have any thoughts here on this Netflix chart post earnings? We're now at the low 80s that we had talked about. Saw a bunch of price target re-ratings here this morning. Do you have any thought on this at all for the group?
Yeah, we were talking about how this area where we were getting support from April and January last year was looking pretty interesting. And that's basically where we went to off of these earnings. So I'm thinking there could be a bounce coming. I mean, the RSI is pretty extended to the downside. It could still go lower. It certainly has before back in 2022. But I don't think that if there is going to be a rebound soon, that it's going to be very long-lived. I mean, we might see it try to come back up towards the 50, but if we do even get back up there, I'd be curious what happens at 100. I'm not sure it's going to be able to push a whole lot higher in the short term. Maybe longer term it'll do better. But the thing that concerns me is that if we are seeing a downturn here, and we just got off of having a really long golden cross period. Back from the toward the end of November of 2022 up until just recently at the end of 2025, and I'm wondering if we're going to see a prolonged death cross period now. And if that's the case, look what happened the last time we did that. We went from about 70 all the way down to 1650. That's over 70%, and I'm thinking that could certainly happen again. And
76% by my measurement, 13.
And if we do get something like that again, where we enter this prolonged downturn period, well, then I think that Netflix could easily go to 30.
Yeah, I was just going to say that puts me at about $30, 76% from the all-time high here. I'll be honest, kudos to you for doing that. I'm not sure I'm there yet. I'm not sure I'm there yet, but an interesting way to look at the chart. Always have a plan in case this doesn't work out there. One more thing I wanted to throw in here. Lion here is literally on his table yelling at anyone that will listen that this is a screaming buy right now. Jay mentioning, first mentioning that he's an old fart, but then going on to say that Netflix canceled their buyback. And indeed, one of the things we learned from the earnings report, they didn't say canceled. I want to be fair to the company. They actually said that they're going to pause their buyback. But again, they're pausing that buyback so that they can fund this acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. And I think now, like we had talked before about this, well, the company is going to be paying out a ton of money for these assets. What's that actually going to do to the cash position and the stock price here? Are you at all worried that if this acquisition isn't accretive on the time frame that they had outlined, that this actually might be poisonous for Netflix, or is it just too big for that to really be the case?
Well, the point you brought up about the share repurchases is kind of concerning to me, because a lot of these companies that do share repurchases, that they rely on that for their growth, and you're basically taking that whole growth angle away. So that's going to affect some things like multiples. It's going to affect projections. It's going to affect price targets. I think that the longer they go on without share repurchases, the worse it could be for Netflix.
Okay. Yeah, Jay saying it's a lot of money for Bugs Bunny, which is kind of funny here. Now,
Harry Potter likes it though.
That's true. Really quickly, just looking at Netflix here in the pre-market, it does look like maybe we've tried so far to bounce off of 80. We did not quite print that 80, but we did kind of move down to 80. So we'll see. And Jay Harris here saying calls for Netflix today. Look, I'm actually looking at Netflix for a potential trade here today. So we'll see. We'll see if we get a setup. We'll see if the momentum turns around. We just had Tim Melvin telling us that if you're going to trade a momentum name, you'd really like that to be at a depressed level anyway, as opposed to an elevated level. So perhaps that bodes well here for Netflix. Also, really quick check-in. I know Trump is still speaking here. S&P futures have come up off their lows. We're actually in the green now, higher by 0.1%. What do you got for us, 13?
And I just want to, reiterate, this whole downturn, possible $30 price target. This is like a long time in the making. In the short term, I certainly think there could be a rebound here. I mean, we just, talked about how low the RSI is. I think there's going to be a bounce coming soon. And it might reverse and go up for, maybe a month or so. But like I said, when we get to $100, if we even get back up there, I'm really wondering if we're going to even be able to hold above it. And the 50-day SMA is already beneath 100. So I don't think that there's a whole lot of upside from here. I think that you're going to be facing a lot more resistance from this level here. So in the short term, I could see it coming back up, but longer term, I could see this going much lower.
Okay, Jeremy's idea here, consider leaps on Netflix. Give yourself time for that to turn green. So, Jeremy, not to put words in your mouth here, but I think what you're saying is instead of trying to pick that bottom at the absolute bottom, instead, you're saying give yourself a runway because eventually this thing's going to turn around. And when it does, you want to still have some time on those contracts. Okay, good stuff there on Netflix. Appreciate wrapping that up. 13, I know we're a little bit late here, so maybe let's move through the movers a little bit quicker than we normally do. But here you go. I am going to start with SLGB, and I think several folks were trading this earlier. I think one of the things that I like the most about this, at least from looking at the chart here, we have several impulse moves met by regression moves. That seems healthy to me, and they keep resolving higher. So maybe we will see this pattern continue here. Stock is up 212%. So just kind of going back to some of the things that you've been talking about, 13, about there being multiple 100% runners, indicative of a market top, so on and so forth. Just note, stock is up quite a bit here today. So I don't have anything here. I don't have any fresh news. The last piece of news I had was from January 6th. January 21st here. It looks like it's just moving higher here on volume. This also perhaps explain why the formation looks so orderly. So I'm curious to get your thoughts, 13. Well, short interest on this, 3.9%, 1 day to cover. On average, it trades 500,000 shares. Today, it's traded 50 million shares. And the float here, very low at 1 million.
Well, I think you might get an idea of why this is moving, because you're right. There's like really not a whole lot of news today. The big news was from earlier this month, January 6th. But if you read what the description of the company is, you're like, oh, okay, well, that makes all the sense in the world why this is going. They basically are an industrial raw materials line haul transportation business, and rare earths and precious metals have certainly been in the news lately. So when you have a company like this, which has a float of 1 million shares exactly, it's going to be able to move if there's enough people that latch on to that, a theme like this that we're in. Now, the company is profitable, so I don't think they're going to need to raise any capital. I mean, if they do, it's probably to expand business, but they already are making money. They already have plenty of revenue, so that's good news. Looking at their chart, because they haven't been on the market for too long, we did have an IPO back in October. That took us all the way up to $6 in the days after the offering. And we started seeing all kinds of weakness, going slightly under $1 in December. Now we're back up in a gap fill area with this movement here today. And that gap fill is from the Friday, October 24th into Monday, October 27th. That's going to be from about $3 to somewhere around 480 to 5. I mean, if you use the bottom wick, it's 480. If you want to use the real body, it's more like 495. So there's a bit of a gap fill there that can be had. We haven't done that in the pre-market here, only going as high as 450. So there's still a possibility we could see that happen as well. The price has been riding the VWAP up for the most part in the pre-market here after we recaptured it. So going into the open, we're going to want to see that continue to trade above the VWAP. And if we start losing that indicator and put pressure under the 65 EMA down where that gap begins, then we might want to look at something else, because we could be at risk of going lower.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. We'll see if SLGB follows that plan and does fill that gap. I'll be honest, 13, if it does end up doing that here today, it's actually a pretty good move from where we sit right now. So we'll monitor it.
And one last thing, this is not one to stick around in. I was looking at the share structure, 1 million shares in the float, like I said, 41 million shares outstanding. That's a lot of restricted units, a lot of units that aren't tradable right now. But without looking into their share structure more deeply, I can already tell you that that's going to they're going to end up getting exercised, or they're going to end up on the free market at some point, and that's going to dilute the overall stock. So not one to stick around in.
Okay, next one here, PAVM. This is PAVmed. I guess, sorry, I should spell the ticker out instead of pronouncing it. It's PAVM. PAVmed shares are trading higher after the company announced its subsidiary, Lucid Diagnostics, was awarded a contract by the Department of Veteran Affairs for its EsoGuard esophageal DNA test. So you're getting looks like you're getting a contract from the Department of Veteran Affairs. That's driving the stock higher here. Now, interestingly, once again, this stock is up 191%. So a very, very extreme move here. And it's actually on the second leg higher as we speak. Looks like it tapped 20 there before backing off. Quick peek at the short interest on this one. I have got a fairly negligible short interest. It does say, did we have a recent split on this? Let me check.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah,
1 for 30 on the 30th.
Okay, there you go. So 1 for 30 on the, and it was effective January 2nd, right? Of course, right when the new year started. So a recent 1 for 30 reverse split, that's going to throw off some of the short interest figures here. We do have some short interest, but I don't really think it's a whole lot. Looks like it was holding right beneath 2% or so there with less than 2 days to cover. On average, the stock is a ghost town, right? Trades just about 23,000 shares. Today it's traded 17 million. So none of that, none of those days to cover stuff should matter at all, as that's calculated off the average volume. The one thing to note here, float, very, very low. After that 1 for 30 reverse, we've got a float reading here of 851,000 shares. So 13, what do you think here on this one? And while you're breaking down the chart, I'm going to step away. I'll be right back.
Okay. So when he gets back, I'll have something else to show you, because it's interesting. The subsidiary that we refer to, Lucid Diagnostics, that's actually got its own ticker, and it trades on the stock exchange here. So that ticker is LUCD. And you're probably wondering, well, how come this isn't going crazy like PAVM is? I think part of that reason is the share structure. PAVM, being that they just went through a 1 for 30 reverse split, now only has 851,000 shares in the float. Meanwhile, you have LUCD, which is also trading up nicely this morning, but just not to the tune of 185%. That has got a share structure of 94.4 million shares in the float. So that heavier share structure is likely the reason, or at least one of the reasons, why it's not going over 100% like PAVM is. Speaking of PAVM, the company does need cash. They are not going to last with the current cash they have on hand for another quarter. So I would expect there to be some kind of capital raise coming soon with PAVM. Don't know about LUCD, and I guess they're kind of their own thing right now with being on their own exchange, or their own stock ticker. But both of these could continue to provide some moves. I mean, we just got one with LUCD. Ryan, so
yes, sir.
I was just mentioning with PAVM, that subsidiary you mentioned, Lucid Diagnostics.
Yep.
They have their own ticker. That's LUCD. And the reason why this isn't going as much as PAVM is, I believe it has to do with the share structure. PAVM has 851,000 shares in the float. LUCD has 94.4 million.
Much, much thicker. So we're not seeing nearly the type of move. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, 13.
Yeah, so great that they got awarded that VA contract. It was just looking quickly through Lucid's news feed. Apparently, this is something that was in preclinical trials that before they got the news headline. So great on them for getting a VA contract. It's certainly helping the stock today, Lucids, and it's helping PAVMs. I don't know which one is going to be better to trade. Maybe you might get some trades out of PAVM because of the low float structure, but this news more has to do with Lucid. So you might also get some trades there.
Now, did you look at the financials for this one yet?
For PAVM, they need cash, so they could be doing a capital raise soon.
I was just going to say, we all seem to be on the same page there. So first of all, I looked at it; they look like they need cash to me.
Yeah.
X Sniper here saying PAVM has a shelf offering ready to go. Okay. We there was another comment here, real quick. JD saying, I bet they do an end of day offer. So we've identified that this company could really use some cash. Now we're seeing it move nearly 200%. I think you're probably right on for the offering there. And let me very quickly tie this in. Corvus Pharmaceuticals, which we had yesterday, this was a big move yesterday. I believe they did an offering, did they not? Indeed, they did. Announces $150 million common stock offering. Interestingly enough, CRVS is higher by another 5.7%. So just know, X Sniper, I appreciate you. Well, I appreciate all of you, but JD, X Sniper, I'm glad that you folks brought this up. We'll see if we end up getting that here on PAVM today. Okay. Was that all you had?
Well, for PAVM, they're kind of both trading similarly, but with PAVM, since this is the one that's over 100%, this is still riding the VWAP higher. We haven't broken beneath it yet. We did print slightly beneath it, but we went higher all the same. It looks like this is setting up to try and make another push higher. That's going to take it up through 20. I think for the time being right now, $16 is going to be your support, and your resistance is going to be that $20 breakout level, and that's for PAVM. If you're going to try and trade LUCD, it looks to me like VWAP or the area right there around 145. That's going to be your support. And as far as resistance goes, I mean, I'd have to spend a little bit more time looking at the chart on a daily basis. But right now, we just hit 170 before this current candle, so that could be the current resistance we're looking at.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff here. JD says, I was in PAVM for years and got out before the split, lol. Now I got my free shares of LUCD.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Well, hey, as long as the plan works there. Okay. Next here, LSTA. It's on the gapper list here, but I don't think this is this is just a buyout. So there's no trade here. It looks like it's being bought out for $4 per share, and it's $3.99 in the pre-market. Really nothing to go on there. Box L, I noticed that several of you folks were trading this one here earlier. This is Boxlight. This popped yesterday in the after hours, but honestly, today is where we're actually seeing the big run and more volume here. It looks like yesterday in the morning, we had this is yesterday, right? No, this is last week. Boy, I got all sorts of mixed up there. And then here, the most recent news was from Friday. So I don't really see anything on here. This was announcing executive leadership. Is that what actually took place here?
Yeah, I think so.
Got it. Effective January 27th. Okay, so they're having some shakeup here amongst the leaders at the top. That, I guess, is what's driving this higher here by 77%, 16.09% of the float shorted. Only 1 day to cover on BoxL, but this still has less than 1 million shares in the float. So it's going to be one of those low float names that move around. On average, it trades just shy of 400,000. Today, it's done 65 million. What do you got?
Well, as Robert just pointed out, it did a 1-for-6 reverse split in December. So that's the reason why we have a 934,000 share float. That's right. Thank you. This company has a couple quarters of cash, so at some point they are going to have to raise capital. Don't necessarily know why we're getting this movement here today. That leadership change you had talked about, that's news that we've been getting since last month. So I don't necessarily think that's what we're going on here. I think this might be another one like how we saw SLGB having no news, but kind of seemingly move off of theme. I think Boxlight might be doing something similarly because they distribute science, technology, engineering, and math products, including 3D printing and robotics solutions. So this is more of like, an education supply company. And with the emergence of, well, I don't want to say emergence, but like with the, the rise of demand for robotics and automation, seems like educating people to, be able to repair build and maintain those systems, it's going to be sought after. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is causing this to move. I don't necessarily think it's a leadership change. I think it's just another one of these that's getting caught up in a theme. People saw that it had a very low float, and they latched onto it and caused it to run.
Yeah, I agree spot on with that. Okay, really good stuff. Let's keep moving here because I know that there's a lot. We're not going to be able to cover everything. Next one here is PAPL. We've traded this one a bunch before. This is actually Pineapple Financial. This did start trading higher again yesterday in the after hours. Big move here was today. This came back in quite a bit. Here's your news for today. This one at least has news here. Reported earlier, Pineapple Financial reports Q1 2026 results with 4.1 million in gross bookings, 0.7 million revenue, and introduces a full year 2026 outlook and 51.2 million digital asset treasury update. Let's see what else they give here. Bookings of 17.5 to 20.8 million and revenue of 7.9 to 9.5 million, targeting positive operating income. Stock definitely likes this, up 70%. This one I at least understand here. When I take a look at the short interest, 10.94% of the float shorted with 3.41 days to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 610,000 shares. Today we've done 27 million. Float here also 1.21 million, so right in that butter zone. What do you think here, 13? Sure looks like we came up the same area we regressed to in the after hours today. Maybe we'll have the strength to get up to VWAP, which I have chilling at about 208. But what do you think?
When I look at the daily chart for this one, we saw one of these yesterday. I think it was Top Wealth, where they have these seemingly random spikes on their daily chart, and then they just come right back down. So PAPL has some of these spikes that appear where they had some news or a PR or something that took it up into the pre-market and partially in the regular session, and then the very next day or later that day they just came right back in. So I think this is when I'd probably be a little bit more cautious with. I don't know that we're going to even get up to the 65-day EMA. We're not there yet. We looks like we ended up getting there out of the gate this morning in the pre-market when we ran up to 338. We pushed past it, then came right back in though. So the 65-day EMA is something I'd certainly be keeping an eye on for resistance. That area is going to be from about 245 to 250. I have the EMA at 270 though, but there's a resistance level from November that is also catching my eye. So I'm just a little bit concerned about this. Maybe after we open, it pops up and then it comes right back in, and that would be it for the day. So just want to exercise some caution with this one. Looking at a 5-minute chart, we did get above the VWAP when we had that move up to 325, came right back in, have not been able to recapture the VWAP since. So this is not looking too great to me. If we can't hold above this 65 EMA on the 5-minute, I think we're going to come back into the 200 and maybe even lower.
Okay. Really good stuff. Just looking through a couple of other of the smaller stocks here. I do want to get back to the broader market here right ahead of the open. IMTE, Integrated Media Tech. This popped yesterday. It came back in today. Really hasn't got above the VWAP. BNAI, which actually had a pretty decent move yesterday, had an even bigger move here today. Brand Engagement Network shares are trading higher after the company announced it finalized a strategic partnership with Valeo Technologies to establish an exclusive AI licensing framework for government and commercial markets across Africa. So more AI there in the headline. BNAI traded up to 11. If anyone that was trading this yesterday managed to keep it overnight, congrats. Hopefully you booked some of those gains there today. And here we are. We're actually looked like we might be crossing through the VWAP here. Did you have anything on this, or can I roll back to
on BNAI? They just did a 1-for-10 reverse split last month on the 2nd. That's changed their share structure to be down to 4.2 million shares in the float. And I was only looking at that because I noticed the short interest was over 29%, but only had 1 day to cover. So that's kind of indicative of a reverse split. So short interest, I don't know if we can really rely on that, but they did do a reverse split. It should be one of the reasons why it's trading the way it is. If this can hold above 850 or 8 or 850, it looks like it might try to push through 950 again and go back up into double digits. But we'll see if that's what we end up getting here today. with BNAI.
Okay. Also, it is worth noting we've actually done, as a company, full disclosure, we've done some all access presentations with BNAI. They've come on a couple of times. Perhaps we'll see them on again, and we can ask them some questions. Okay. And really quick here, Asia's less. IVP.
AS Isles.
AS Isles. Okay. Well, that's
I
just
guess.
thank you. Thank you for reading lead speak. Whatever your name, however your name is supposed to be pronounced, this is a good comment here. IVP is now known as IVPR on Schwab. He also goes on to say that you can call them and request to have your risky, high volume volatility stocks taken off of the restricted list. So we were talking about how a lot of these stocks that we had covered in the movers, you couldn't buy them. Looks like I've never done this myself, but it looks like you can just call the broker. All right, I was too slow on that. I'm sorry. Really quick here. It looks like S&P futures have traded up significantly. I know some folks here are probably surprised, but we're not going to invade Greenland. I will say I love that y'all have your own opinions, and I love that they're different. I actually think that makes all of us better, including myself. But it is ridiculous to think that we were going to use troops to conquer Greenland. Absolutely patently absurd. We now got a headline here that drove the market higher. Go ahead, 13.
PAVM, one of the ones we were looking at this morning here, that's trying to come up to the 1990 high in the pre-market here. So there's this $20 resistance we were talking about. We're pushing up towards it right now in that stock. SLGB also trying to push higher. This might have a trend line here based off of the 450 high that we just got at 740. We could draw a trend line there, see if that breaks. Boxlight also has a trend line that's trying to push through right now. Not through it yet, but up at that trend line right now.
I'm a little slow here. Here's your SLGB. That's a good mention. Let's do the Boxlight one as well.
That's trying to push through it right now, getting rejected so far. Needs more volume here with Boxlight.
That went right to it. We also have the VWAP just right above that real quick. And I saw a couple of you folks were mentioning Ondas. Before we get too involved here, let me just really quickly cover that, 13. Ondas here. It looks like we popped again out of the gate. We did have some news here. Stiefel actually upped their upped their price target from 17 to 18. This is notable because we just had the Investors Day. So my read through on this is that Stiefel likes what they heard, and also raised their price target here. 18 looks to be that new target. Not an upgrade, but a price target adjustment. And Ondas here, it looks like it traded up about 5% out of the open. The stock loves to pull. Looks like it's pulled a little bit here, but we'll check back in on that. Okay. Let's see. I think we're finally caught up there. Sarah's a little bit late. BoxL trying to go through its trend line as we speak.
Yep. There's a fight in BoxL. I mean, we could call it boxing, but I don't know what else you would call it. Right now, it is trying to make its way through the trend line. The 253 area looks like it has a large concentration of sellers. Seems like they're trying to walk this down. I just saw another one appear at 245. Take them out, folks. Take them out.
Also, one of the other stocks we took a look at here in the pre-market, Netflix. Boy, this didn't even wait for the open. Netflix trying to trade up here. I've got this above the VWAP. Nice little move here for Netflix. We'll see if it can get above that 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Got that at right about $84. So far, we had talked about low 80s being a spot there on the chart. So far, it looks like that's held here. Netflix. I'll let you know if I see anything unusual on the option scanner as well as the morning progresses.
So Boxlight looking decent, making its way through this trend line here. But we still have a minute 45 before this candle closes. So need to see this close above the trend line here. Otherwise, if we close beneath it, oh look, and now they just brought in a seller to push this down. So if we close beneath this trend line, then this could put pressure on the 65 EMA where it's been getting support going into the regular session here. Lucid Diagnostics, by the way, and PAV. So PAVM broke through that $20 resistance area, went up to 2080. That's great. Lucid, on the other hand, the one the news is actually for, that one ended up selling out of the gate here, and this looks like it could be getting weak here. If this starts closing underneath the VWAP with this current candle being the first one, then this might end up coming lower underneath the 145 support.
And I'm just going to apologize in advance here. When you say Lucid, I might accidentally just type in LCID. So I apologize if I do that. The stock that we're talking about here today is LUCD.
I'll have to make sure I say diagnostics, but yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm probably still going to screw it up, to be honest. I'm just saying that's just how it's going to go.
We were getting a question about support for SLGB. We just went through one level that was at about 345. We're down at the 65 EMA now, which is the next area of support. So we need to hold here. Otherwise, it looks to me like we could be seeing 260, maybe 235. If we lose that 65 EMA. So we think that we need to turn around here and recapture that VWAP in short order.
Okay, CRVS, this is one that we talked about yesterday, or is one that we traded yesterday. This also moving higher here today. Looks like it's trying to break out. We'll see if it's got the strength to do that. WIS mentioning PAPL, that was on our list here from today. He's saying it's about to fly here. So WIS, it looks like you're looking for a launch off this 160, 165 area. PAPL.
If we can get through this 170, 175 area, I think that might be the case. Let's see if we can get some more volume expansion that takes us through that level. AMPX is one that I've been, this isn't one of the movers, but AMPX is one of the battery plays that I've been waiting for to come in some more, and I'm not getting my wish for much lower prices. It did tap 999, and I'm looking for a little bit lower than that, but man, this thing is looking pretty good out of the gate here, and it's just one of the battery plays. So this could go on for some time. I don't know what kind of back and forth we'll see, but AMPX is one of the battery plays that I've had my eye on.
Okay, Ryan likes AMPX. I'm in that one too. Ryan Milligan, good to see you again, Ryan. All right, and then real quick here, Neville was asking about Bloom Energy. There was, I guess, some of you were saying that there was a mention here of nuke something or other power in the speech. Maybe that drove them. Bloom Energy here coming back in. I didn't see it, so I'm just kind of going off the chat here. Sorry if I had that wrong.
Pineapple Financial is making some slightly higher prints so far, looking good there. Resistance is going to be at about 190. So if we manage to push through that, that could take us up to 220. There was another one that we were getting some really good moves. Oh yeah, PAVM. This one now 2214, looking really good here. The next candle might find some resistance. This is just kind of how we some of these patterns develop. You'll get these big moves up, and then once it starts to run into resistance, like we did before we opened this morning here with this one, we had two big green candles. The third one started to run into resistance. It formed a base, and then when we opened, it went higher. So, now we're halted with PAVM.
And okay, good call there on the halt. 2256 upside halt here. Remember, this thing has a super low float. Also here, Zach, I should have mentioned this. This is a great mention. AMPX, one of the Ondas battery providers. Yep. So to just this actually is a really good mention because it circles back to your theme 13 about batteries just in general and how, especially for some of like these drones and things like that, like they're going to need a lot of that. So, okay, good stuff. Good mention.
So with PAVM halted, LUCD has started to go. LUCD is a subsidiary of PAVM.
That's right. And these things are going to have different halt criteria as well. So the fact that one's halted 13, this was a really good mention. I'm not surprised to see the traders trading that flowing now to LUCD.
So here we go with SLGB, the one that I was just mentioning about how we needed to hold that 65 EMA or we could go lower. We're getting a reversal off that right now, and it's back up to VWAP. Need to recapture VWAP here and close over it. Otherwise, we could continue to hit that 65 EMA again with more price action. So need to see the recapture of that VWAP.
Okay, and I forgot the ticker yesterday, but we saw one that had a real steep trend line, very similar to this. And once it broke away in the morning there, 13, it never really recovered and gave it a chance. So I would agree with you. I think this really does need to hold here. We might be in trouble. We'll see. It does look like it tested the 65 EMA as well. Okay. What else do we have here? Intel's at the top of the scanner here. Intel, another pop. This now moving above 50. Someone here yesterday, maybe it wasn't yesterday, but someone I feel like earlier was talking about Intel at 50 being a fairly key level. If it gets above it, someone is going to have to remind me on that. I can't remember.
That might have been Big of E's.
Yeah, it might have been. You're right.
Who was talking about it yesterday in happy hour. Now, this has been, Intel's been great since we broke this massive trend line that we've had since, it started in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We broke through that, back tested it support, and now we're, basically using it as a launch pad to go higher. This area that we're up at here, this the $50 area, this is a former area of resistance back from the end of 2023 in December.
Look at that.
Yeah, we just pushed past that a little bit. Now, the concern that I have is are we going to come back underneath this level? Because if we do, then I think that's going to solidify this as a pretty tough area of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And we could end up seeing the price retreat if we can't get through that in this short period of time. So need to start closing above this 50, I would say $51 area. It looks like we took a little bit higher in December that year. So as long as we can hold above 51, we could push higher. But if we struggle to close and hold above 50, 51, I think we could come back in.
What if we came back in to kind of back test this trend line? Now, I have it down here. Maybe by the time we get to it, it'll be about 47-ish. Do you think if we're able to do that would represent a possible area to maybe swing this to the long side?
I would have to see what it does when it gets down.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I'm just wondering. I'm looking for if-thens there on just some of these. We'll see here.
Because you have your 50-day SMA just beneath 40. So if it comes back in quick enough,
maybe it could test the odds.
Then that 50-day SMA becomes a pretty strong area of support, and I think you might get your rebound off the trend line then.
Okay. We got to mention here that our cat was flying as well as Rich Tech Robotics.
That's what drone companies do.
Yeah. Oh, 13. You never disappoint. Our cat here trading back up towards 16. That is having a fairly nice move right now. And then the other one,
PAPL.
PA, that wasn't the one, but
no, it's starting to go.
Yes, it is indeed.
It's that resistance.
So VWAP target here 204, right? This is what we're kind of looking at.
I'm looking for this to kind of break through 190 right now and take us through this resistance that we were experiencing in the pre-market. Starting all the way back from the after hours.
Okay. So you it sounds like you want a move into the three handle.
I think you're talking about where this is going to. So it looks like from here, 215 is going to be the next big resistance if we can get through this 190. That's what I'm looking at. So if we start closing above 190, 215 is the next resistance target there.
Okay, and I do like that this kind of pulled a little bit, and really it looks like, now that we're looking back on it, it actually looks like this is going to hold that 65 EMA. Also, regarding the regular market here, remember I gave you Anne Marie's outlook. She was kind of calling for a bounce that she thought might happen, but she thought that bounce might end up getting sold. So far we're seeing the bounce spot, just something else to keep your eye on. And really quick, 13, I'm sorry. Retro Texas, welcome back. It's good to see you, boss. Sorry, 13, get in there.
PAVM unhalted and blasted off, almost took 24. We went as high as 23.96 and backed off a bit here. So this is the candle. This is the candle we were talking about, how after these two big impulse moves, we could see some resistance here with this one. Now, we might end up forming a bit of a base with this candle here once it stops making new highs. And this also was a truncated candle because we were halted too. So not sure where we're going to start to go sideways here, but it does look like we're running into resistance already.
Okay.
LUCD, that one's struggled to get over VWAP. Momentum looks like it's going to swing to the downside. There might not be a whole lot left here with LUCD for now. The support area that I'd want to keep an eye on, if there is going to be a trade, would be 145. But if we lose that, then there's a 65 EMA down around 131, and that's quite a retreat from the prices we were looking at just now.
Okay. Box L, this kind of traded sideways through its trend line. We'll see if it can actually get.
I like this. We got to move through the trend line, closed above it, and then the next candle back tested this as support. We did come down and test the 9 and 15 EMAs, but we're still struggling with VWAP. So as long as we can close above this this trend line and VWAP, I think we can push higher here. But we need to get above. We need to close above VWAP with this candle.
Really quickly here, PAPL right off of your trade plan, right through 190. So I actually did trade this. I peeled half here. We'll see if we get to the VWAP. Otherwise, stop above break even, and we have that booked here and guaranteed. So good stuff there. Good call out there on PAPL 13.
We had a gentleman that mentioned that this was going to go. I'm sorry, I forgot who, but it
was Wiss. It was Wiss that was watching this. That's what put it on at the beginning. Yep.
Well done to him too for mentioning that this was going to go, because he was calling that when we had this earlier candle 5 minutes into the regular session, and here we are 10 minutes later now starting to go. So that was a great call ahead of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Really good stuff here, group. And here we are coming up to 2. Let's see if we get to 204. I would say this for the remaining portion here. If we test that VWAP and move through it, we'll see if we get a run. Otherwise, probably just book that one, since this seems like one of those just kind of riskier movers there. PAPL. But nice to see it's working here. Here's LUCD. That pulled back maybe after the open. People returned to PAVM, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because and here we are with PAVM. We're starting to get some of this weakness. Maybe we'll get some sideways price action. This I would say that maybe if we hold above 2080, we could still maybe see some higher prints. But this is looking like it could begin to come in here. So this is the sideways price action we're looking for. There we go. Now we just pushed higher, or we almost did. Anyway, I think that this is getting to the point where I'd be taking a lot off the table. This could come back in because I don't know that we're going to necessarily push higher into the above 2450. But don't let me disrupt your trade plan. It's just looking like it's slowing down, so don't know how much more we're going to get out of this for the time being.
Real quick, here's Rich Tech Robotics. I didn't get to this quick enough. Looks like this traded up to 430 and backed off a little bit. We actually lost VWAP in the process. The other thing is I didn't see if there was news on this here today. Indeed, it looks like there was. Rich Tech Robotics underpinned buy rating and a $6 target there. Who was that from? That's Scott Buck from HC Wainwright. So Wainwright giving you a $6 price target there on Rich Tech.
Nice. All right. Well, as far as these movers go, I think we got a good portion of the morning price action. A lot of these just look like they've either slowed down or just either setting up to make their next move, which could be down in some cases or up in others.
Dell here looks like this is kind of at the lows. This had kind of a rough day yesterday. Looks like no reprieve yet for Dell. SLGB, this is another one that we talked about. The trend line seems to really be depressing this, although it hasn't broken down from its VWAP yet, which I suppose is a good thing. PAPL, that was one of the ones that has worked for us here today. Still in part of that. Looks like the VWAP is, in fact, giving you some resistance there. So we'll see if this has the strength to maybe move through the VWAP. I would say for anyone trading this one, since we already got the up move that we talked about, just don't let the trade go red on you on that.
For Intel, it was just I don't know why this didn't hit me in the face when I was looking at it earlier, but they report earnings tomorrow after the market closes, and we just had a nice rally from Christmas all the way into this new year. And when we had Christmas Eve, this was at $35, and now we're over 52. That rally into earnings, I think I wouldn't be sticking around here if this is just a trade. If you're holding this for the longer term, get ready for some downside. I think you're going to have some more buying opportunities.
Okay.
We've mentioned many times before how a lot of these names, they run into earnings, they end up selling on the print. So I think this is one that we could end up seeing come back in. And if we do see the selling on their earnings report, I think I'd be looking at least for this to come down to 45.
Okay.
Maybe it goes lower, but I think that we're going to see some 45 prints again. I just think that with this run up into the earnings, it's something that we should probably be careful for.
Okay. Good mention.
You tell me what you think.
No, I like it. I mean, the stocks that have run into earnings generally haven't done all that well. And that's exactly what you're getting here with this reporting tomorrow. So we'll see. Good breakdown there. Let me take a look. I took my eyes off the option scanner there. So if we got anything notable, I didn't see it here. I did notice that there are some Tesla sweeps. Tesla actually looks like maybe this is going to try and go higher through 424. We'll see. PAPL may be back on for another test of that VWAP. We'll see. Ondas holding right around VWAP. Would really love to see this break that 1420, 1425 area. RCAT, how we doing on RCAT? Still really good. This actually flagging up here near 16. BNAI getting mentioned. I see that on the scanner as well. Here's your BNAI. That was a nice move through VWAP as well.
Yeah, kind of looking at some of these movers, and they're kind of sideways at the moment. I mean, some like Lucid and Boxlight, they kind of came in a little bit lower. Lucid, I'm not sure about this. This actually went right down to where we were looking at or support, that 145 area, and rebounded. But momentum is still swinging to the downside. And if this can't get back above 150 or the VWAP, then I think there's a little bit more downside to be had here.
Complicating matters further, the other Lucid group is mooning right now. So now, as if my task wasn't already annoying, now we have the other Lucid stock. This actually ripping and finding some resistance here at $11. Volume actually looks pretty good on this too.
It's funny. You look at a daily chart for Lucid, the Lucid group. This one has had trouble with the 20-day SMA, and that's right where it's at right now. So since the beginning of last month, when it tried to recapture the 20-day SMA, it started this whole long period of just getting completely rejected by the 20-day SMA every time it tries to get over it. And that's happened multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here we are on the 8th time trying to get back above the 20-day SMA. So here's what I think about this one. If we do start closing above the 20-day SMA, I think that's your signal that this is going to go higher.
Okay. So there you go. There's your trigger.
I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know how high. Maybe you see 16s.
Sure.
But I think once we recapture that 20-day SMA, which has clearly been suppressing the price for over a month now, I think that's going to be a signal that this is trying to go higher. Now, I don't know if there's news on this or if this is just getting mistaken for the one we've been trading.
Can you imagine if that's all that this is?
It's happened before.
I'm not going to do. I'm not.
Tesla and Stellantis. Tesla and Stellantis is all I need to say.
I've done it myself. I've done it myself. Really quickly here regarding the markets, S&P futures at their day highs. S&P futures up 0.58%. Trump, it looks like, is walking off of the stage right now. 13, I'm going to go ahead and utilize one of the best features here of Benzinga Pro. And I'm actually going to call this out real quick, just as kind of an educational thing. Obviously, we had this Trump speech here this morning. If you were unable to watch it, first of all, if you guys were watching us instead, then I personally thank each and every one of you that made that decision, and so does 13. But one of the really cool things about Benzinga Pro is that anytime you have one of these big events, whether it's Trump or otherwise, Powell, anything that's really going to affect the broader market here, you can you don't even have to watch it. You can stay on top of everything that's happening here by filtering your news feed for ticker SPY, which is exactly what I've done right here. You've seen me use this before. It's extremely beneficial when we have something like what just happened here. So it's very easy for me to just kind of, even though I missed the entire speech, it's very easy for me to just kind of run through this. Okay, President Trump says the U.S. economy is on pace to grow at double the rate predicted by the IMF last April. That's positive, denoted by the positive sentiment indicator. President Trump says we're very much into the world of nuclear energy. This should drive some of those nuke stocks that you folks have been talking about. President Trump says Greenland is sitting undefended in a key strategic location, says he's seeking immediate negotiations to discuss that. Trump says Greenland purchase would enhance NATO. Trump says we are asking for is to get Greenland. We want to build Golden Dome in order to defend Canada. There was also a line in here that he was not going to use military force to conquer Greenland. So there's a lot of stuff in here that you can very easily stay on top of. I use this thing every single day. Great to see the market responding here. I encourage anyone that uses Benzinga Pro, keep a news feed somewhere filtered by ticker SPY so that you can stay on top of this stuff too. Okay, let me go back to the main workspace. What do you got?
Yeah, we don't need military force to take out.
Of course not.
You could use militia. You could use militia. It would work just as well.
I'm just saying that was never really on the table. You'd think we should learn here from some of the rhetoric. By the way, really quickly, stopped out of PAPL on the way back down. Not going to let the green trade that we made go red on us. Really quickly, as far as the trade plan here, we traded the curl back up to the VWAP. That was resistance area 1, shaved part there, hoping for a break higher. Didn't get it, so we stop out. We'll wait for this to really kind of turn around or maybe give us another entry here. Right now, all out of PAPL. That is the green day trade.
Yeah, PAVM. This one's struggling to get over 2450. Still hasn't been able to ever since we printed 2449. Now we're
which one? Sorry, PAVM.
Yeah. This one looking like it could begin to weaken here if we don't get this move through 2450. I think this current candle might be the last one we get before we start breaking beneath. I would say 20, maybe 2150 could be the spot. So if we don't break out here and make some new session highs, I think we're going lower.
Okay, I'm not in this trade, so I'm just going to watch the fireworks with y'all. Ooh, I see Micron on here. Micron up another 3.7%.
LUCD
380 now.
that one had a big breakdown beneath that 145 area we were pointing out, and that went right to the 65 EMA. And frankly, this doesn't look like that's going to hold either. And what else we got? AMPX was had a nice pop this morning, came right back in down to the 1130. Then now we're rebounding right back up to where we were moving to out of the gate. Nice trading action there.
Man, look at so SanDisk. So we talked about this yesterday on Happy Hour. SanDisk was red yesterday with the rest of the market, then went again. Today it actually pulled out of the open, but no surprise, we're now higher by another 4% here. These memory names just absolutely incredible. Shorting them has been next to impossible. I still do have a little bit of mud. We'll see where Micron goes. I'll probably run from that trade with a small loss if this thing prints 400. See what else we have off of the scanner here. PAPL, that pretty much came back in. I don't think this is setting up for another buy yet. Maybe if it holds that 165. Netflix, this is another one that we were taking a look at. Netflix actually having a decent morning here today. We're basically back to the high end of the range of where we settled yesterday after the earnings print. I'm curious to see how Netflix closes today. If we get all of these price target readjustments and Netflix actually closes well or trades well here today, part of me wonders if we might have some more upside there for a short trade. I am being very weary of Anne-Marie's outlook here. If we do get a bounce, which we're getting here in the market, does that bounce actually get sold, or do we recapture any of those levels? Currently looking like we're working on 682, which was in fact one of those levels. So looking pretty good so far.
All right. So, and this is kind of what I wanted to wait and see what we were going to get with the market today, following that big move down that took us beneath the 50-day SMA. Here we are now recapturing it.
That's exactly right.
So, and we still have the rest of the day to see what happens, but I would need to see another close. I need to see a close above 680. Because we went beneath it yesterday and closed beneath it. So if we can't hold above this here, then I think that's going to kind of spell some more downside for us if we don't continue to close above 680 in the 50-day SMA. Here we are with PAVM starting to go down. This is what we were looking for.
Well, okay, let me put that on screen. ADTX looks like it ran into a resistance area. Here's your PAVM. That was a really good call there at 24, by the way, 13. Give you a one up for that.
And thank you. It's going to halt down now.
Halting down right at the 9 EMA on that 5-minute chart.
Yeah, so we were getting some of these upper shadows. It was having a hard time getting over 2450. The momentum looked like it was starting to leave the market. Volume was starting to it just wasn't enough. And I think all those things combined was kind of leading to where we are now.
Okay, seeing some lucid calls here, but now that you've mentioned it, I can't help but wonder if it's part of the getting the tickers messed up. I can't do it. Anil, good to see you here today. Asking about SLGB. Let's take a look and see what that's doing here. Sorry, my chart freaked out on me there. Oh, come on now.
This one's struggling to hold on to the 65 EMA.
No new update here. This thing looked ugly from its inability to trade above the trend line. We lost VWAP, as you just mentioned, 13. Now we've lost the 65 EMA. So I don't know about you, 13, but nothing yet looks great here for this.
No, and this loss of the 65 EMA makes it look even worse. I would think that maybe around 250 you get some support. Could be even lower, around 225 in that 200 EMA. But it doesn't seem like this is done with its downside yet. I think that there's going to be other stuff you want to look at here. I don't know where this turns around. There's some support coming, like I said, around 250. But but for right now, I don't know that it's going to be able to recapture the 65 EMA unless we see a really big step in of buyers.
Yesterday, we got asked about AES, and I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on whoever it was that asked us. We took a look at the daily chart. This thing actually traded pretty poorly yesterday. Today, it's erased everything that happened yesterday, and we're about back to where we opened on Friday. So AES, I know yesterday we just kind of took a look at the chart. Didn't really have a great day. Looks like what a difference a day makes. This kind of looks a little bit different here today. And then Hippo Hero Zero. I mean, first of all, what a handle. But he is asking about race, and this is awesome because I first of all, I love for being a car guy. I obviously love Ferrari. We have a gentleman in Happy Hour that tracks this every single day, and good on him. He makes us take a look at this, which I absolutely love. He keeps it on my radar. Here's what I think about this. I definitely want to trade this. I think that this is immune to a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. The wealthy are going to still buy their toys. Anyone that's buying a Ferrari doesn't really give two damns about tariffs. There's tariff back and forth with Italy anyway, about them maybe not even having tariffs. Nonetheless, here's the race chart. Now, this thing has rolled over, gapped beneath several of its really key moving averages. And as you can see recently, it's basically riding the 50-day and the 20-day down. 13, we had your patented death cross here back in October. Now, I understand that these two moving averages were oscillating a little bit, so maybe you don't draw a whole lot from it. But I got to be honest with you, per our discussions, this area in here that I have highlighted by this parallel channel, it's roughly 280 to 330. This area here sure looks like a consolidation area in the past back in 2023 that represents the next area of support if Ferrari can get down here. Got to be honest with you, I would probably want to try this for a short-term trade. I know it's expensive. I know it's not something that I use every day, but I am interested in this. Hippo Hero Zero might make for some swing trades while it searches for its bottom. My thought here is that if it finds it, especially on the area that we've outlined, giddy up. We could have a great swing trade here. 13, do you have any thoughts on the race chart?
Yeah, and we were talking with Hakeem about this. He seemed skeptical that we were going to go a whole lot lower at the time, and I liked this 280 to 330 area because of that consolidation. But I didn't know if we would end up going down there, so I told him 350 is the next area that I like. One of the reasons was we have the 50-month SMA right in that area. It's actually 343. But we've actually gone right through it. Now we still have the rest of the month. I'm curious to see if we do end up closing beneath that, or if we go higher. If we recapture it. So when I look at a monthly chart, these levels that I'm looking for really stand out a lot better. That 330 area really pops out. So thinking that that's going to be the next area to keep an eye on if we do end up closing beneath this 50-month SMA. That's where I see the next area of support. And even if that doesn't work, we have this whole channel, the sideways channel from 280 to 330, where it has several areas we can draw upon for support, including 300.
Yeah, so I'm kind of waiting for this. Also, don't write off that round 300 number and level. That might also come into play here. All right, good question, Hippo. Thank you, 13, for indulging me on the chart.
Sure.
I have no position on race, just to be clear. I am interested in that. I will say, like, part of me would love to like trade race enough and well enough to be able to buy a Ferrari from proceeds used from trading the stock Ferrari. That's going to be a ways off. That'd be quite awesome. But I am definitely interested in that here. Okay. Let's take a look at some other stuff that's going on now. You guys, I had a question here. Suprik, do you think Ondas will hit 15 today? No, not really. The news that we had here today is about a $1 price target hike at Stiefel, which I do view as good, but I don't necessarily think that's going to have the catalyst to really take us to 15. That being said, crazier things have happened before. I don't have any strong feeling about this going to 15 today. Let's see. What else did I miss there? You guys were talking about LUCD.
Thought I saw.
No wonder you guys are mentioning LUCD 13. I'm sorry for interrupting you here. Look at this thing. Complete round trip coming here on this one. I hope nobody got hit by this. Really good breakdown, by the way, tying this to the other stock.
It's funny how the parent company was getting a lot more love than this company was, but we looked at the share structure and I think we have an understanding of why that is. Because look at PAVM, that's also come back in, but just not nearly as much as LUCD has. Although I do think PAVM is probably going to end up making some more downside here. Momentum has swung to the downside now, so I think VWAP's going to be under pressure soon.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there, 13. Good stuff. Let's see if there's anything else on the list here.
So one question that we got
was
about from G-Man regarding AMD.
Okay.
And
I'm going to go to the big chart for that, I think.
That's fine. And one of the things about AMD, they're not NVIDIA. So I think they still have a lot of room to go there as they play catch up. They're still going to be in demand on the AI, data center servers theme. And I don't think that's anywhere near being done yet. But when I look at this chart on a daily chart, and then I've also looked at some of the longer time frames, monthly looks fantastic as well. We triple bottomed in AMD recently. Starting with November, we've been holding above 200, and that's where we've been bottoming at following the sell-off that started in November, the middle of November. We bottomed around 200, got support at the end of November, then again in the middle of December, and then just recently in the middle of July on the 12th, we finally hit a what I also have here to be a trend line and took off.
I have the same trend line. So
yep. So I think a lot of these technical setups here have a lot to do with that. The triple bottom certainly looks like that's what gave it a lot of appeal to take it up through 227. It's looking to me like 260 is going to be the next big resistance area where we were getting a lot of selling, resistance in October. So 260 looks like the next spot that this is going to go to. Hopefully it goes higher. I'd like to see this at 280 pretty soon.
Okay. One of the other things, just on kind of a more macro level here, we had Lisa Su recently. We had an article recently talking about how the CPUs are being used in AI calculations now as well. And we also had Lisa Su saying that she sees incredible demand and an incredible opportunity coming up here. And it does look like the stock's kind of moving with that. So, okay, good stuff there on AMD. Let me go back to the main workspace here. Quick check-in on some things here. First of all, Bitcoin recapturing 90K on the futures. That's been a traditional risk-on indicator for us. Also, the VIX, that's done nothing but melt. So we traded from 13 to 20. We peaked out at 20.99. Today, the VIX chart has done nothing but trade down. We're currently sitting at 1791 on the VIX.
Thank you, Kevin. He also reached out to Schwab to get some stocks off the restricted list. So let us know how that turns out.
You know what? I asked specifically for this, and I appreciate all of the context here. Thank you for calling this out, 13. And Kevin, thank you for sharing this. The Schwab rep, I can submit a request to put you on an exceptions list if you'd like. Turnaround time is same business day. I will submit that request. Approval is not guaranteed. So that's interesting. I wonder, he probably didn't tell you this. She probably didn't tell you this, but I wonder what they would use that approval on. For those of you that were struggling with this, and I'm not trying to call people out here, but I'm just trying to remember from memory. I think Kathy, you were using Schwab. I think there were several of you folks that were using this that were starting to get tired of that. Let me know if this works for you. Let me know if this kind of solves your problem there. And I don't share stuff if you get rejected by that or whatever, but I'm just wondering what they kind of use for that. Okay, good mention, Kev.
Thanks for the news there. We're about to trade. Remember Vero? This one was like, I think we were trading this last week. This is going to get delisted from NASDAQ.
Uh-oh, what happened? Company announced it will be delisted from NASDAQ.
It's an intention. So they're doing this on their own. They're going to deregister with the SEC.
Yep.
And it's a voluntary delist.
This interest is the best interest of the company and its shareholders. We believe the reduced cost for compliance will help facilitate the company's ability to grow and execute our turnaround plan. You know what's startling about that, 13? How many times have we talked about some of these junky stocks and happy hour where the conclusion has been, boy, this company shouldn't have been public. It wasn't ready yet.
I think the sign was okay. So last week on Friday, remember this was moving because Madryn Asset Management reported a 91% stake. I think this is them going, hey, you know private. What? Yeah, we're going private. Exactly. They said, we're just going to buy a whole bunch of this company, become the largest shareholder by far, and then tell y'all what to do. So that's that. I think that was kind of the hint that this was going to be delisted, was that the company was buying up all of the outstanding shares, and now they're taking it private.
So the plot thickens, as they say.
Oh, yeah, like a nice gravy, it does.
Like a nice gravy. Okay. All right.
AMD and INTC, boom. You get it, Marty. Mud 52-week low. I mean, well, every day that that Micron goes up, it's going to make a new 52-week low.
Yeah, that's. I mean, at this point now, probably we'll have to add a little bit to that to see if it turns around. That trade's almost more of a hedge with everything else going on here. I can take the small loss on MUD. Yeah.
It's we weren't going to hold on to a lot of it. I don't have a whole lot of it, so.
And just to reiterate here, Lion here saying that Micron is looking strong. Micron literally broke yesterday's intraday high. This is a story that I feel like is, I mean, look at this chart. Look at this daily chart. This absolutely looks strong here. It looks like it did kind of stall out a little bit there, 350-ish, but higher we go. 400 seems to be the next level for me.
And it was looking like we were getting a reversal candle yesterday, but here we are pushing higher than that. But
we even talked about that on Happy Hour too.
I still think that we're approaching some resistance, because it's only going to be so long before this RSI gets too overdone and then it comes back in. The RSI has gone higher in this stock. I mean, we've seen 86 prints in this before, and that was recently. That was in September. So we certainly could go higher. I believe that this is going to go higher, but I also think that this is going to have some periods where it cools off, and we need one of those soon.
Yeah, and I'm just talking with the producer here behind the scenes. We're both computer nerds, very much like 13 is, and we're all kind of in agreement. I would kind of like Micron to go down, so RAM wasn't $400 for us to buy and put into our computers. Might take a bit, and a good point here by the producer, if this is like COVID, it actually might take a minute for that market to settle. So just some more thoughts there from people that actually purchased the end product.
Well, it's funny you bring up that COVID era, because there's a headline here that came out with a lot of these chip names about how Tesla and BYD face memory chip shortages this year. Wells Fargo has warned.
Yeah.
So
I think we might see more of those warnings, 13.
That's going to drive the stock prices higher.
Okie dokie. What do we got here, folks? Let me maybe run through some of these stocks off the scanner. 13, you had said earlier, I know the market's rallying here, so it's probably the bigger stuff that makes some better opportunities for us. Haven't seen a whole lot here off the movers here from the relative volume scanner. SLGB checking in on this again, lower still. PAPL looks like that is all. What did we lag there for? PAPL looks like this is also moving lower, maybe that 135, the next area. Glad we were able to wrap that trade up before it got too ugly. What else do we have on here? I'm noticing ON here. I did actually see some call sweeps for this earlier. I haven't seen any in a bit, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I it's been a little while since I've looked at some of these movers, maybe the past 10, 15 minutes, because once these started losing some of these 65 EMAs or VWAPs, they seemed like they were going to be done. And so far, I'm not seeing a lot of great movement here with these names. I mean, SLGB, this one looks like it's going to probably try and turn around, but I still don't have a lot of faith in it. PAVM, maybe there's some more in this, but this one also looks like it's going to come down to its VWAP. LUCD, that's already went back down to start. So this could turn around and come back up. This thing gave everything back.
I like this. I like Lion. I love when we give trade plans like this. This to me is way more valuable than shouting King Gold, King Silver, and 800 smiley faces after it. LOL. If Micron gives us a pullback to around the 350 to 360 area, Lion here thinks that actually represents a buying opportunity and would trade that via the 400 calls expiring in June. If that trade ends up working out, that will be a money printer without a doubt, Lion. And I appreciate you sharing the different legs of this.
I haven't been so much bothered by his constant King Gold.
No, I'm not either. It's more of a poke because when he gets on, he pokes me, so I poke back. That's just how it is. Lion's awesome.
Just because I know what he's talking about and I agree with him, and it's because I've got a lot of the metal already. So yeah, I'm happy just to have be constantly reminded that some of these metal calls we're getting really, really well, getting really good. So I don't mind it. You keep going ahead and talk about
and let's be honest. Look, if we zoom out, okay, we're talking about back and forth stuff here, having a little fun, keeping things light, yada yada yada. If you back out a little bit. Obviously, the call to go long these metals was phenomenal. This is probably one of the best performers that we've had recently. I guess maybe sans some of those memory chips. So this was clearly good. It's still working. Look at this chart. It's pushing higher here today.
My favorite is WPM. I love this.
And a shout out to you, because even before this became trendy, you were on WPM telling people about that.
Oh, yeah. WPM, I mean, because when you think of miners, I think of leverage. And how much those miners have, and they have to take out a lot of capital in order to keep their operations going. But when it comes to WPM, they're a streamer, so they only they don't have all that overhead or anything that they have to maintain. They basically just profit from the production that they pay somebody else for. So I like that way better. A lot less risk. They pay a dividend, and I was already big on silver. Been big on silver since 2019, and man, this thing was like under $30 in September of 22.
Yeah, I know. It's just look, really good call here.
Oh yeah.
We'll do the trifecta here. All right, real quick. Trump ended the question and answer. Don't forget, he does have an interview coming up, I think at noon or maybe 1 with Joe Kernan, so that you'll get some more. You'll get some more insight from that, and that'll be tailored to the American audience as well. So we'll see what happens there. No surprises there. Zach, though, I'm a bit puzzled. I thought that everything was going to be terrible and the world was going to end and all of that. So you'll have to let me know what happened. I'm a bit puzzled on that. Jim here saying Trump's speech is over. Question and answer is over. The VIX is down 10%. That's a good thing. Indeed. Risk on here. Now, remember, so let's keep. It's good that we're rallying here. That's fine. But let's also keep in mind the key levels that we outlined before we even knew what was going to happen here, right? That 13, you even touched on this as well already once here today, that 50-day moving average. We closed beneath that yesterday. A recapture of that generally viewed as very bullish, very, very quick recapture. I'll tell you what, I'd love to see 3 closes above 681.33 right here. A gap fill would be better still. Perhaps then we can even continue to move higher here, maybe even through 700 on the SPY.
I had a question from Shady about what about NAMM gold miner. So as I was just talking about when it came to WPM, one of the reasons I liked it so much is because they weren't necessarily a miner, they're a streamer. So they don't have that leverage of mining operations that they have to constantly finance. Being that NAMM is a miner, they're going to be more susceptible to that. And the other thing that would scare me away from NAMM is the fact that their operations are focused in Zimbabwe. African operations, when it comes to any kind of mining or any kind of mineral extraction, I view through a very, very cautious lens because of all the instability that's happened over there. So I don't necessarily prefer NAMM for those two reasons. Could this one go? Because I mean, it's already up 30% today, probably on some of these other mineral movements. But aside from that, on its own, I don't know how great this is. I have to look more into it. But just those two things right there already make me a little bit more cautious, and I'd be looking for other miners if I was going to go into that space.
But JD, I think this is a follow-up for you. Is that also why you're cautious with Ivanhoe?
Asking me?
I think so. I don't know. I don't know who that was directed to. I was just trying to throw that in there.
Do you have a ticker? I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about Ivanhoe. I've heard of it, but I don't know enough about it. It's just when it comes to the miners specifically, because if we get rate cuts, that's going to be great for these companies. They need lower rates so that their operations are more profitable.
And by the way, speaking of that whole lower rate thing, we actually had part of my insight from the analyst this morning was from Jeremy Siegel saying the exact same thing, saying that would love to see more rotation from the large cap growth into the small cap and value stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. What else am I missing here?
No problem, Shady. It's just, that's just the cautious lens I'm looking through it with. Maybe NAMM does great, but it's looking like it's been doing pretty good today. I don't know if it's had news or not, or if it's just running on, with the rest of the theme of minerals, but and precious metals. But I think there could be some better mining operations out there.
Okay. Jay, I love this. Trim when you can, not when you have to. Some of these moves are insane. I would agree with that. And Jay, you'd be proud of me. I've been trying to say I'm going to use the trimming like Jay Rice, right? Trimming often and when you can, not necessarily when you have to.
Veggie Girl, the stock that I was talking about that I like is WPM, just as Cam mentioned. That's a silver streamer. They are not a traditional miner. Because they don't own any mines. They just own the production.
Tara, you were asking about LVLU earlier. We haven't really looked at that. This is Lulu's Fashion Holdings, and this thing is ramping right now. I'll be honest. I know I've seen this ticker before. Lulu's Fashion Lounge Holdings is a fashion brand serving millennial and Gen Z women. Its products include fall dresses, winter dresses, sweater dresses, short dresses, casual dresses, wedding dresses, and denims. Okay, I guess you could have said dresses and denims, but whatever. The company generates a majority of its revenue from customers based in the U.S. I don't see any fresh news here today, but this stock is up 44%.
So I think, and I don't know if this is exactly what's happening here, but I've been keeping an eye on a lot of these apparel companies because when it comes to tariffs, if we get any ruling soon about how those can't go on, that's going to be great for a lot of these apparel names. LVLU, I think one of the big reasons why you're seeing some outsized movement with this particular stock compared to, like, let's say just Lulu, which is only up 1.6%, or another one that I'm in, Under Armour, which is up almost 5%. I think you're seeing more of a move in LVLU because of their share structure. 671,000 shares in the float, and the short interest is also quite high. Not super high, but it's good. Not necessarily in our within our parameters, but it's up there. 8.5% with 4.5 days to cover. So I think the combination of the low float, the short interest is also helping it get an extra lift within that theme of no tariffs on apparel.
Okay. All right, Jay here saying Roblox went 70 to 90 to 76 in 5 days. That's why you trim.
Yep.
So what you're talking about here, Jay, is often, and here's a look at that. You're exactly right. Look at this move. So this is an example in other words, one of the things that we say here is when the trade works for you, be sure to take gains. This is effectively what we're trying to emphasize. Now, I like in your own comment here, now you're looking to add, right? This has come back into an area where maybe buying is the thing to do. So this is good stuff. We try and focus on this here a lot. A lot of these trades have different time frames, so you have to factor that in, but this is a really good example. You're welcome, Tara.
It was a fantastic move from the low 70s all the way up to the 50-day SMA. And then got rejected there, and back down we go for the next trade. Now, Jay, I could see this, maybe bouncing around a little bit. I don't know how much more upside we're going to get. Maybe if this continues within this range from the low, like around just under 72 to the 50-day SMA, we could push higher. But I still don't have a great outlook on this company. Let's see what happens in the low 70s. I just I don't like their business model. I don't like how they're letting predators into their platform for that could potentially harm children. I don't think this is a great company. They lose millions of dollars all the time. We'll see what happens once it gets down around 72. Earnings.
Did you see the? I saw a tweet the other day that some Roblox player, I think it was Roblox, some Roblox player built a 1-to-1 replica of Epstein's Island. Did you see that? I actually wondered if it was someone in here just going for the trolls, but
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I'm sure somebody's already done the same thing in Minecraft.
Minecraft, probably. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm more poking fun at that. One of the coolest things I ever did see, actually, from Minecraft, someone built a full-scale 1-to-1 replica of the Enterprise from Star Trek, which is one of the most badass things I think I've ever seen.
There's been a lot of pretty incredible 1-to-1 builds in that game. I think some people spend a lot of time building whole maps of other video games like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
they just made the entire map out of
sometimes 13. Minecraft. I wish I had that much time on my hands.
If I had that much time, I don't know that I'd be doing that.
Me either. I'm just saying, time is our most valuable commodity. Don't have a ton of it.
I'm going to take a quick look here at all the movers that we were looking at this morning. SLGB's trying to catch a bid and turn around here. Volume's not where it used to be. We'll see if it can recapture the 65 EMA. I think that's going to be the signal of whether or not this is going to go back up or not. PAVM, this has received some support from VWAP. Hasn't been able to get back up to 21 yet, though. That seems to be the current resistance that it's facing. LUCD, this thing has not recovered. It's still down here where it started. Gave everything back. Probably nothing there. Boxlight did get a pop above the trend line, held out there for another 5 minutes. Haven't been back up there since following that loss. And VWAP is the big resistance level. We did try to pop above the 65 EMA, but as soon as we came up to the VWAP, got rejected. So 65 EMA and VWAP, both of those need to be recaptured if we're going to see any higher prints in box L.
All right. Tesla ripping to the highs here. Oh, well, I am seeing some call flow on the back of this move higher as well. That looks like that's continuing here. Real quickly here, you should see the New York City builds. I think that recreation of like real life, the attention to detail, it's impressive because I don't have the patience and the skills to do that. So when I see other people do that, it's impressive. Day Trader says we used to build scaled baseball stadiums out of Legos.
That's awesome.
As close as we could when we were early teenagers in the late 80s. Yeah, I loved Legos. That's arguably my favorite toy of all time. I never built those stadiums, though. Like, my buddy has a Wrigley Field and an Arkansas Razorbacks Lego stadium. That was a gift. I think those are really cool. And I was never able to do that myself, though. One of our gaming servers, someone built a complete White House, pillars and all. Again, the attention to detail is really what gets me. I'm no good at that. I'm no good at that. Tesla continuing to pound the highs here. Also, I think it was Lion that was mentioning Freeport earlier. Have seen some Freeport options here trade today. The movement has not really kind of mirrored what we've seen on the tape, but that's happening here. PAPL, boy, we traded that one, correct? That thing has really kind of died down.
Yeah, this whole FCX move has been fantastic. We were on this on the coal copper theme. I think just before Trump had made that announcement as a critical mineral last year. I want to say it was sometime in over the summer, but I don't know exactly when it was that I can recall that he mentioned copper as being crucial for the future of the country and being a critical mineral. Freeport was down at 35 less than a year ago. Now it's up at 61. Copper, folks.
13, your CCCX. Yeah, they're not big. I guess it's aggressive, which is what makes it unusual, but it's not huge here. Some call flow here, CCCX.
This is the SPAC that is bringing the company Inflection to market. I don't think they've got a day when they're going to merge yet, but this is going to be one of the quantum names to watch. They've already got revenue. They've already got a lot of government contracts. This is one of the reasons why I don't think quantum is very, very far out, like decades away. I think it's just a handful of years. This is definitely one to watch. Getting support from the 50-day SMA is encouraging, but we need to see a recapture of that 20-day SMA as well.
Seeing Chewy on the scanner here, but maybe if Chewy holds this 30-ish. The trend here, not great, though. Not great here at all. Very clear downtrend from that. This is from what, June? Yeah, June of last year.
When it comes to this one, I think I kind of like some of the price action that I'm seeing here. So let me explain this. I don't think we have a whole lot of time.
I was going to say, be quick about it.
Yeah. So real quick here.
We already wrapped some of the movers, so we can go after this.
So this area between 30 and 35, this is a consolidation area. We had the same area from March last year. This area of consolidation following a downward move that took us up higher and pushed us up to 48. So if we can continue consolidating here and then begin to recapture, I would say 35, 36, I think that would be a good sign that this is going to turn back up. But this consolidation, very important that we're in. We need to see what happens as we move out of it. If we move it to the downside, it's going to be bad. If we move through the upside through 35, 36, I think we could end up pushing higher.
Okay, I'm going to add that to the chart in case we come back to this. I want to take a look at that. All right, 13, any closing words for the group before we move over to story trading for the day here?
Hey, folks, I'm glad that we had this time to trade some of these movers. We made some really good decisions. We got a lot of that movement out of the gate, and then we kind of backed off because things weren't looking great. So well done for all of you that took these trades and learned and knew when to sit on your hands. I think we did really well this morning. Let's come back tomorrow and do it again.
We did.
All right. And maybe we'll get some more multiple 100% runners. So until then, folks, have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay green. I'll see you later. Goodbye.
Yeah. And 13, as you're jumping off here, I really want to highlight something that you just said there. I think what we did the best here today, we had a lot of movers that maybe were flashing moves, but they didn't materialize. I think we did a really good job being selective as opposed to trying to spread ourselves too thin.
Yep.
That might be something that we should do going forward. All right. Really good stuff here, 13. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
See you.
All right, that is 13. Really good stuff here for pre-market playbook. We are going to shift over to the story trading guys here today. Let's go ahead and bring on Rhett.
Oh, where'd you go?
You're right here.
Oh, I just lost. Oh, there we go. For some reason, I lost the screen. You disappeared on me. It was like Houdini.
But we're good, right? Hey, Houdini. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Dougie Fresh. Let's go.
Sounds
What's
good.
up, Dougie Fresh Picks?
How are you today?
I'm doing really good. I love the microphone. Your voice sounds like you're in a studio. That's sweet. And then we got Laptop Travel. So story trading group, a little bit of a different look here. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, Ben is on vacation for this week. He finally took a vacation, but he can't get away from the charts. He's still been communicating with us a little bit there.
Okay. Just remind him how vacation is spelled, because those of us that don't know how to take them, we often can't spell it.
Yeah, exactly.
One of you guys want to share your screen?
Oh, yeah. Let me go ahead and share that really quick. Here we go. Window. I think it's this one right here. There we go. You should be able to. Do you guys see the MU chart by chance?
You got it, boss. I'm going to put this on the screen.
Awesome.
Rhett, I'm going to get out of your hair. Have a great
Woo!
one, buddy.
Thank you.
There's the
All
chart.
right.
Thank you.
So yeah, today our number one pick of the day was MU. We said buy the dips. We said 375 to all-time highs was the target. But sadly, I sold super early on this name. I don't know about you guys, but you guys want to talk about MU really quick? What are your thoughts on this up here?
It's been a monster, everybody. I mean, this thing, buy the dips, it's going to continue to go up. It was our number one pick. And look, it's still going up. It's still $23.78 over 6.5% today. And it's getting into the top on the minute chart, but still has a ton of room. I think we're going to be seeing that 400 real soon right there, Rhett, and Laptop Travel. What do you think, Laptop Travel?
Hey, I think Micron was a great play today for options. Zero DTEs would have been really good calls today, which we did play. 300% for 390s right now. And if you were in anything lower than that, you probably got maybe in more leverage. I think that what we were talking about before is that I think the market, my personal opinion is, and I think we have a consensus, is the market is starting to figure out the Trump cycle and not getting stressed out and emotional over the dips. So it seems that we get this loud call for tariffs or for some kind of restrictions, and the market reacts negatively, which it obviously did yesterday. Dow down 800. Yet it seems that Trump is very savvy and is very conscious. I think he made a comment that it's just peanuts. The market's going to double. So you got a president that's very aware. So traders buy the dip. It's what the president's saying. It's what we believe, and was our advice today.
And every time he says that, the market just like catapults right after that. He's speaking at 2:30 today too at some economic conference in Switzerland. So that'll be all eyes on that today. And if he says that the market's going to double real soon, you better pay attention to it and be watching the Qs and everything. As a matter of fact, look at the Qs and SPYs; they're ripping ever since he said that. So I would say it's in a good position right there. Rhett, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're saying your audio is super clean. Love it. Yeah, so I think MU the dips will be bought all year. We gave a $500 price target for the year. That was back right here after the earnings call that night. We gave a $500 price target to the community. I think it was that trading at like 240 something. 238, I believe it was when we gave it out. $500 price target, and we said buy the dips all year long, and that's what we've been doing. That's what we put today. I mean, if you picked up the dips today, especially on short-dated options, they pay it out nicely. And that's what we did. Sadly, I sold for a little, I think it was over 60% returns. But look, they're almost up over 400% now. So I wish I would have held on a little longer to those MU calls. But I think this is going to be a name that's going to be in play all year long, and just continue to buy the dips in this name and trade around the core in your long-term account for MU. Another one you guys want to talk about. Do you guys want to talk? I was not expecting this move on Netflix today. You guys want to talk about this really quick?
Yeah, I'll talk about it because I bought options, an option. I bought some yesterday. At the end of the day, based solely on the chart and the fact that it was in the basement, I said it was a lotto play. So I wasn't expecting too much. I just wanted to see if it would pop off them earnings. And they apparently did beat the earnings by a little bit, but they are kind of disappointing or whatever. And they're buying Warner Brothers, but you got that big dip, and it's just recouping right now. And it's just moving right along. It looks pretty good. The candle on that bad boy looks really solid. So I think it could get out of this basement area. I mean, it went right into the basement, entered the dungeon, and then all of a sudden turned around today. So you could see this reversal, and it could continue its way up for the rest of the day right here. I don't know if you're going to get back to where it was yesterday today, but you're moving up there. You're at 84.63. So I think it looks pretty good at the moment off of that dip. If you caught that dip, that was a great one to catch.
Yeah, I think we have to look at uh, besides the backstory about Netflix and the Warner Brothers deal competing with Paramount. Look at Netflix as a bellwether indicator stock of consumer spending.
Yep.
This is very bullish going forward for consumer spending for consumer goods. So this bodes very well for those kind of consumer stocks in the near future. And so, uh, if you're not into nuclear and the rare earth minerals and all that, there's some positive news here for consumer spending.
Without a doubt. Another one I want to mention up here is going to be USO. Starting to get a little bit of a pop here. We are keeping this name on watch as there's a lot more military presence and activity happening near Iran. And also yesterday, I think it was the USS Lincoln. They shut off tracking devices for that. And we saw a few reports of Black Hawk helicopters in the area as well. So just keep that in mind in terms for USO with oil, because we may see if news does come out on something like that with Iran, then we will probably see a spike up on USO, so the United States oil. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I agree with this comment here. We're not out of the woodworks yet with the market. Yeah, you never know what Trump's going to say here. So you always got to keep that in mind. And I mean, you never want to oversize. I mean, because he can come out and say something that's going to go against your trade, and you'll want to be on the wrong side of that. So always size accordingly, and risk management is always key in terms for that type of stuff that we're seeing right now with these headlines coming out, what seems almost every hour nowadays. We also had some news this morning. We saw a pop up on nuclear from Trump's comment this morning. When he was at Davos. So just keep that in mind. Probably will be mentioned more than once today. You saw that with CCJ, all these names. AMT, and then AMPX continues to be a nice swing for us. We have a 1250 swing target, and we're continuing to hold this till it hits our target of 1250. We hit 1201 today. We gave a short-term target of 1175 this morning in pre-market that we hit in the first 5-minute candle. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about right now?
I just want to, reassure investors that it looks like, I honestly don't think you're going to see anything from Trump out of the Davos speech that's going to rock the markets. I think we already understand Trump's playbook. It's Trump on the weekends that you really have to watch out for. And honestly, my standard practice of trading in the last 6 weeks is, except for gold and silver, is I'm going to bed with cash under my pillow on Friday nights.
Yep.
Especially on a 3-day weekend. You're definitely doing that.
Especially.
I like having in my day trade account cash by end of day, just because I don't like to try to dig myself out of a hole each day while day trading. So by the end of the day, most times, 99% of the time, I am all cash by the end of the day in my day trading account. Another one I want to mention too this morning was AMD showing this relative strength today. This thing is ripping up 8%. We were looking at it at 240. I said in the near term, we could probably hit 250. I didn't do anything about it. And we hit 251 today.
Yep.
This thing has been unbelievable, especially today and yesterday as well. I think we had news yesterday that came out, I believe, correct?
I am not sure. Was there? Yeah, there
I
was.
think there was like
a
big flow and options or something like that. Or I'm not too sure. Hold on, let me see. Let's look.
Oh
this
yeah,
up
yeah.
real quick.
The out of bound or unbalanced call options. Yes, I would say.
Yeah, so this thing is flying today. Those people are making a fortune. Let's see where else.
Yeah, that thing's ripping right now as we speak. AMD, it's still cruising along. So Intel's ripping along too today. That one's been a pretty good monster, and that's
Yeah,
been popping.
definitely. I'm looking at the comments here now from people. Yeah, Izzy, you nailed it in saying buy Netflix in the low 80s. I didn't do anything about it. I haven't even traded Netflix today. And Intel was also one of our top trade ideas for today. Just continuation on relative strength and with the administration, how it's viewed as very positively, and we saw that coming today for Intel. So we give a $53 to $54 target, and we just hit our 54 high-end target for today for Intel. We didn't give any further targets today. Laptop,
Ring the bell on that.
would you go higher for this name for today, or would it be like more of a swing target that you
Intel?
give for Intel?
I'd say 55, 55.
All right.
It's hitting some resistance, but it's pretty strong. I don't know. It has its earnings coming up tomorrow,
Cool.
and it does look pretty good. Let me see. I mean, I think it's going to try to pull back a little bit. It may be hitting topping out for this morning, and then we'll see if it can get a little pullback and run up a little bit more. Is what it looks like at the moment, anyway. So who knows? But it
Definitely.
is hitting a little bit of resistance up here.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll probably see a little bit of a pullback here in this name. It hit our high-end target. I mean, it could exceed it, but look, this thing's up 11%.
Yeah, that's you
15.
might want to lock in some profits at this point especially if you're trading them today and from yesterday. So whenever you see them up this way, my new thing, Rhett, when I'm taking screenshots because the thing's up so much, I think that's a good sign to make sure you're selling some and locking in
Without a
profits.
doubt.
So that's my new slogan right there. If I'm taking a screenshot because it's up that much, I better be locking in profits at the same time. So that's what I think, and I'd be taking a screenshot of that bad boy right there. So that's how I look at it.
And we had a few upgrades in this name this morning. Jay Rice was pointing out. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It was by Bernstein on AMD and Intel this morning. And yeah, that guy's a beast for semi analyst. He definitely is. I want to mention today my precious baby and my biggest holding in my retirement account, ASTS, just made new all-time highs again at 120.93. We are pulling back. I would like to see a healthy pullback in this name, if I'm being honest with you guys. I did trim a little position off because I'm looking to buy on the dips. I think we may have a chance to head back here, maybe around somewhere in the 90s, I would say. See a nice little healthy pullback, nice reset on the RSI just for a continuation to head back up there. And I think the middle of this year is when a lot of catalysts will be flowing in for this company to really get the move going on ASTS.
And the Qs are still going up as we speak.
Yeah, for people that want to play ETFs, I'm recommending ITA, which is the U.S. Aerospace and Defense ETF. We had a pullback on Monday, as we did with many others. I think this is a great opportunity. Sorry?
Monday was
pullback yesterday on Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Sorry. Tuesday, the last trading day. And I think that this is a great opportunity with the pullback to buy this because I feel that that's definitely one of the administration's pet projects is aerospace and defense.
What was the stock ticker, Laptop Travel?
ITA.
India
ITA.
Tango Alpha.
There you go. ITA for anyone that didn't hear it, and that is your U.S. Aerospace and Defense ETF. So yeah, it does. It's been in the top because it's been running up, but it looks like it wants to crawl up a little bit more right there. It's at 240.
Yeah, and the other one I like, that's kind of plateaued here today, but I mean, if you look at it on a daily chart, like Unstoppable, is X-Ray Lima Echo. That is the energy select sector ETFs. I like that for the long term. Both of these
pretty cheap, right?
And these are right in Trump's back pocket. These are Trump plays.
Yeah, nice. Someone's mentioning Under Armour. I haven't been following this name too closely, but the chart does look good. I mean, especially the daily. We're getting back up here. RSI is overbought, I would say, in this name, but you have how Ben would call it here would be his first target if he was looking at the chart would be down here right around 615. Then the next would be just this gap fill candle right here at 642. Do you guys have any thoughts on Under Armour here? I know they had a bad earnings and bad earnings 2 quarters ago, The other earnings was somewhat okay if I remember, but I haven't been following this name very closely, and I think they have earnings coming up again.
Now you could get a quick little pop right here. It looks like it's pretty good. It's been running up like you said, but it is popping off of that trend line into the high RSI where they do like to run into that top. You know, I like them when they get there and they have that certain look like this one does. So yeah, I could see Under Armour taking a quick little pop up right there if you're playing it. So just make sure you're locking in profits on the way up.
I would have a little bit of caution on Under Armour right now. They lost the U.S. Court of Appeals a ruling yesterday. They're trying to lay off a lot of their liabilities with an insurance company insurance claim, and so the U.S. Court of Appeals ruled against them in that case. So let's let that shake out for a little bit.
Awesome. Then we have it. I'm just going through the comments right here. Yeah, that's not good. I was not following
No, I
that.
didn't see that anywhere.
So yeah, I don't know. I want to probably chase this name. I'd probably, if you're up on it, take your profits and run. From the sounds of it.
AMD still ripping, guys.
Someone is asking about Rocket Labs.
My daughter.
My daughter. What'd you say?
My daughter, AMD. That's her number one pick for everybody out there. My daughter's like a savant with stocks. She's only picked like 4 stocks, and
Each one's going up pretty good.
Oh, she critical metal. She like went 180% in one day. It was crazy. But if she looks at these, she's like Dougie Jr. in a way. Like, oh, okay, she's like Dougie
training
Fresh.
Her across the world.
Yeah, she just looks at charts and is like, boom, this is gonna happen. I'm like, really? She says AMD $400.
Wow.
This summer.
ONDS and all of our drone names are pulling now. I don't know if you guys saw the chart.
Yeah, ONDS pulling back big.
Same with RCAT and all these moves. Just trying to see the others right here really quick. AMD is just a beast. Wow. Let's see anything else. Someone was asking about Rocket Labs, RKLB. I think this is one you can probably own long term as well in terms of the space theme. I'd buy it on pullbacks, not here. I'd wait for a little bigger of a pullback. And I would look to just hold this one long term as well. I think the company will do very good in the long term. Anything else? Another one we traded this morning. LU. I think it was this. Yeah, Lucid right here. Made money this morning. Traded it. I left.
Wow, it's down now. Woo.
Yeah, it's down huge. We sold most before the market even opened, and then I left like $500 worth of runners, and pretty much just letting that go. There's so many saying Dan is ripping as well. Check out Dan.
I do want to a plug on for our Discord. Currently we have 17 stocks in our January effect, and currently we have 14 of the 17 up. Lucid, which is EV company out of Canada, is up 15% today. SMR is up 8%. Fun, Six Flags, that was my personal pick, is up 5.5%. So if you're in the Discord, that's great. If you're not, then just follow us.
Yep, those were initiated around January 23rd or 24th for the January effect picks, where we had a bunch of Zoom calls. Those are probably going to be coming to an end though.
Picked in
December. Friday.
Yeah, December 23rd or 24th. Sorry, not January. But yeah, any other name? Another name I want to mention too that I think is probably going in this theme that hasn't. It's starting to gain traction, but we still have a $10 swing target, so there is still opportunity here in this name for the upside. Is going to be Quick. Do you guys want to talk about Quick really quick?
Have a quick rundown on it. Yeah, I traded this with Ben a few weeks ago, and it had run up. It hit his $8 target, and then it just started popping up even more. and it isn't looking too bad. It's up a little bit today. It's over that resistance, so it has some good support there at 874. You're at 890 right now. It's in the top. I think you will get a little pop up again, and possibly the end of this week, which is tomorrow or Friday, obviously. So keep an eye on QUIK. It isn't looking bad. Quick Logic, I don't know too much about it. I know Ben knows a lot about the company. He's looked into it, but yeah, it does look pretty good. It's been running up, so that's what I know about it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Quick
that's-
Logic. This is a really great play for aerospace. So
Yep.
their specialty is that they have radiation hardened chips. So what does that mean? So you put satellites into space, and they are more susceptible to radiation from solar flares and solar impulses. And so radiation hardened means that they're resistant to these radioactive pulses. This is going to be crucial for future um, space exploration, satellites in space. Think about all the satellites that are being put up in space. You've got Starlink, you've got ASTS, and now you have Bezos, who's going to do his thing. China has announced this. So all these companies want to do this. Um, and then they're talking about even Elon Musk is talking about data centers in space, and maybe or maybe not, that is the future of these AI data centers to be in space. Don't have to worry about temperature control because it's very cold up there, so they don't have to worry about that. So these microchips are going to be very crucial, um, and it's very under recognized. I think the average volume each day is, if I'm looking at it, 150, 160,000 shares a day, 17 million float. I'm sorry, 15 million float. So the potential, once everyone catches on to this, I can see this. I mean, seriously, this could 10x by the end of the year.
Yeah, I definitely think, especially with this theme and name and the opportunities that are going to present themselves for Quick, like you mentioned, we could probably see this thing anywhere from 10 to 15 in a couple of months from here. Another name I wanted to mention was GME. Did we speak about GME yet or no?
No, we didn't talk about it
Not
on
on this
here.
show.
So GME was also one of today's top picks. I picked up call options on the show. Bailed. I actually took a loss on them here on this candle. I was wanting to get a move over 2170 in this name, as you see here, just to get a continuation to 22 to 2250 was our target we gave today. This trade initially has failed. I mean, it could probably still hit the 22 target that we gave our community today, but I'm personally out and no longer in this. The reason we played this today was the CEO Ryan Cohen had purchased 500,000 shares in the company with I think it was a 13D filing.
Something. Yeah, I don't even see what the SEC filing was, but yep, 500,000 additional shares, increasing his ownership stake to 9.2%. And honestly, we did pick the bottom though after it did pull back a little bit. We identified the bottom there. It has run up a little bit, pulled back. It still looks pretty good for today, so it could still run up there a little bit, Rhett, and get moving. It was a little slow there. And you know what it has? It has some good resistance right above it at like $22, and it's just struggling every time it gets into that area. It's just pushing it down. I think it will get through it relatively soon, whether it's today or tomorrow or Friday. But I think GameStop will get over that 22 and make a push.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I follow Roaring Kitty. Okay, I have for a long time. I try to decipher all of his little coded messages and stuff, and Doug will tell you that.
Yeah, he's good at it.
So-
It's funny.
So my question here is, so kind of interesting that Ryan Cohen owned at one time in June of 2024. Ryan Cohen owned 9,001,000 shares of GME. Roaring Kitty, which is Keith Gill, decided that he would match that exactly to the exact number of shares for whatever reason. Maybe he wanted parity in the company because he certainly is now he's required by SEC to report his shares his trades because he owns 10
So much
percent
of
or
the
more of the
company.
company. So anyway, my question is now with this purchase by Cohen, will we see Roaring Kitty match that purchase? I'm betting yes.
So if we do, I think we see another spike in this name. But yeah, I
What
mean, Jay Rice
or
makes a good point, though. I mean, this is going to be a sympathy play of Bitcoin now, just due to the fact of what they did with the company. And in terms of Bitcoin, I did have a range here of this little range here of 87 to 181 to 91 126. And we broke into it. Or on poly market, someone's saying. And then we're out of this range now. So maybe we're gonna bounce back to the upside here for Bitcoin. But go ahead.
yeah,
Laptop.
and don't forget that just recently that Ryan Cohen was set up with this performance bonus where he could, if he took GameStop, I think it was to $100 billion market cap and 10 billion in EBITDA, that uh, he earns a bonus tied to extraordinary growth. If they don't meet the targets, Ryan Cohen gets nothing. So that's interesting. So I think that the purchase by Cohen is a positive statement for the stock, and I think also that shows that he's fully invested. So if you're one of the people that like to follow the money by insider trades, then uh, definitely, GME has, you know everybody knows GameStop apes, and has a lot of hard followers. Um, the stock, not too long ago was, at $48, $49.
I
Yeah,
think
I think.
everybody's buying it. You should see the green candles right now on GameStop.
Yeah, but I still think the company has a long ways to go in terms of turning stuff around. Like this is just the beginning point of a huge turnaround that Ryan Cohen is going to have to really do to get this company to get that in stipend or whatever it's called. What is it called again? Laptop
Performance
performance performance
package.
package. Yeah, there's gonna have to. I think it's almost gonna have to be a miracle, but I don't know. He
Yeah, it's
could
a
pull
Hail
it off.
Mary for sure. But I
Yeah,
mean, it's a huge incentive. I mean, if you were Ryan Cohen, wouldn't you be working your butt off to try to
yeah,
get to
without
that
a doubt. I
point?
mean, who wouldn't for that? I mean, geez, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
you'd be working 24/7, 365. You wouldn't even care about Christmas. You're like, let me just get to this point, and then I'll be straight chilling for the rest of my life and my kids and everybody else in my generations. And yeah, so that's a lot of money they offered him. So I'd be working pretty hard, and obviously he feels pretty confident if he's buying 500,000 additional shares to increase his ownership to almost 10% over 9% right there, 9.2%. So very
But and
interesting.
the company's sitting on, company's sitting on it's one of the most cash rich companies uh, in the market. They're sitting on about $9 billion in cash, which they got from, which I thought was a poor offering at the time. Um, and so and they're highly leveraged into Bitcoin, and that's and possibly other crypto in the future. So I think that's a part of their game plan.
Definitely. You guys have any final words? I think we're gonna wrap it up here for the show coming up at 11. We're actually a little over now. Do you guys have any final thoughts for the people watching on Benzinga?
Trade smart and lock in your profits, everybody, on the way up. That's my final thought.
Mine are, you know, certainly pay attention to the way the administration is phrasing and posturing themselves, but look at the long game. The president and the administration has a long term goal, and I think it's pretty obvious on what sectors and what stocks they're definitely focused on and trying to help. Uh, Everything that we hear from the president and from the administration is to try and promote specific sectors and a whole basket of stocks. So stay focused on those. Don't get distracted by the temporary emotional fluctuations of volatility.
Definitely. And I would say leave you guys with one piece is allocations. That's going to be the biggest thing, and that's when it's going to keep you in this in the long game. I mean, if you oversize in one trade and one of these headlines come out, then you guys are going to get wiped out. So just remember, stick to your allocations, follow your rules, and let the rest play out. Because I mean, you'll get super emotional if you're oversized in trade, and then if news hits you, you'll want to double down, stuff like that. So don't do that. Size appropriately, and you guys keep crushing it. And with that, take care, everyone. I don't know. And then one last thing. Someone's asking promo codes. Yeah, so you can head on over to the Story Trading X Bio, or you can head on over to Laptop Travels X account as well, or Dougie Fresh's X account. Just look up those. If you go in, if you like whatever one of us you like the most, just feel free that you just go in there, click the link, and you can use code the number 1 month for 50% off the first month. I think we have 8 codes. No, six codes left. So 1 month for 50% off. What were you gonna say, Laptop?
I just said 1 month. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, guys. And take care and continue crushing it. And also be aware of Trump's about to speak coming up here very shortly. So just keep that in mind with your trades that you have going into that event. All right. Yep. Gabriel has it 1 month, correct? Just like that, just without the question mark. Just apply that at checkout and you'll get 50% off the first month. Awesome. Take care, everyone, and have a good one. Not sure if we have to do anything on our end. I think he's cut it off for us.
Are we not going another 27 minutes?
I told him we were going to cut it off right at 11. I don't know if he's back there. I just have to do a few other things on the back end for us. He's ending it now.
He's hopping in now. Well, everybody, make sure you enjoy your day and keep an eye on the Trump speech because things will be volatile at that point. So we'll be watching everything and keeping you guys updated in the Discord.
All right. Take care.